Ladies and gentlemen, let's go. We ain't got no time to waste. Let's go. You are now listening to Jason Anderson, and you are in the zone.
The Zone is presented by Guaranteed Foods, delivering all natural food to Midwestern families since 1958. Enjoy healthier food, more free time, free delivery, and better value. Go to GuaranteedFoods.com.
All right, a Thursday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, heading up until 2 o'clock. A lot of stuff to get into and talk about today. We'll talk some Chiefs today. We'll hear from the Kansas City Chiefs anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes from now. 10:20, 10:30, 10:40. We'll see when they get to the podium. It'll be Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. We'll be talking with the media as they wrap up the off-season portion of their 2024. The next time we see and hear from the Chiefs will be in St. Joe on arrival day and leading up to the first preseason game being August 10th. So we are just a couple of months away from seeing the Chiefs out on the field in a football game, not an actual football game, but a football game that will go a long way to see who makes the squad and who doesn't. But we'll hear from Patrick Mahomes. We'll hear from Andy Reid. We saw Patrick Mahomes last night in Dallas cheering on his Mavericks. I thought he would be there for Game 4 because Game 3 was in the middle of the OTAs.
Yeah.
But then you realize, it's a little different to fly to Dallas for Patrick. When you can just go to the private plane, walk right on, get to Dallas.
Southwest isn't going to really have the ability for me to just go whenever I want.
They don't have flights leaving Dallas at 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
They typically, last flight out, 11:30 out of Dallas. No, I think the last flight out's probably 7 or 8 there, buddy.
Can you push a bag for me? Here's a nice Abraham Lincoln.
What about a Thomas Jefferson? Huh? Would you like it? Would you like that? Would you like a Thomas Jefferson? What do you think? Would you like a Benjamin? One Benjamin. I still can't do it. All right, well, I gave it a shot. It's all the money I had. So we'll hear from the Chiefs today. We will talk with Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, coming up at noon. We'll talk with him about the Chiefs and heading into their free time. But, what we've heard from the Chiefs this week, any concerns with the fact that Xavier Worthy, not Hollywood, but Xavier Worthy has not taken the field with his teammates since the second day of rookie minicamp? That every single OTA practice, he has just been in some sweat, some civilians, and just wearing his jersey, but watching. We'll talk a little bit about that. Travis Kelce wants to play till the wheels fall off. We'll talk with Matt Lane about those things and more. That comes up at noon. And then we'll play some sports or leisure today in the 1 o'clock hour, presented by Johnny's Tavern.
Leisure.
Sports or leisure. That's a fact. We'll play some sports or leisure at 1 o'clock. Let's start with the Royals while we can. Been a rough 3 games for the Royals. And the first inning has been rough for 7 straight games defensively. Because last night, for the 7th straight game, the Royals starter / opener, but the Royals starter gave up at least a run. 7 games in a row that they have not left the first inning without a run coming across the plate. Many reasons why. Maybe they got squeezed. A defensive play that wasn't made. Soft contact. A guy ran into it. Didn't have your stuff that night. Whatever it is. There's many reasons that go into why a team might be struggling the way this team is struggling and playing some bad baseball right now. Because offensively, they are not coming through against guys that I think they should be able to do more against. I think they should have done way more against Marcus Stroman than they did.
Oh, yeah.
And Cody Poteet, we'll see how many times he goes out there and looks like this. It's 3 in a row for him. Congratulations that he's pitched decent / really well. We'll see as he moves forward, but he is a guy that, the Royals had. The Royals had an opportunity to give him a contract to put him on the 40-man roster.
Sure.
They did not. Credit the Yankees. They did. They signed him to a major league deal for $750,000. and gave him a 40-man roster spot. It's worked out for them. I don't know that he would be pitching this way with the Royals. I would like to think that he would, because this isn't the old regime. The old regime, I would say there's zero chance he would look like this in a Royals uniform, because those guys don't know what they're doing. These guys, I think they know what they're doing. We've seen that with an Alec Marsh that looked a certain way throughout his minor league career and then has looked much better. With Cole Reagans being a guy that the Rangers were willing to move on from to get Aroldis Chapman, and he's turned out to be an absolute stud. So I think the Royals pitching coaches and the overall organization has a decent idea of what to do with pitchers. But you had a guy coming back from Tommy John. He threw one game. So you didn't want to put him on your 40-man. Understandable. I get it. Credit the Yankees for that. But offensively, they haven't done enough. Yesterday, the difference between a game that turns out to be a laugher and a game that you've got a chance to come back and win in. They have been amazing defensively this year. They have been one of the best teams defensively. And I think it goes hand in hand. It's the one hand washing the other. It's the pitching staff and the defense. Pitching staff has been really good, helps out the defense. Defense has been awesome, helps out the pitching staff. Working together. It's been great. But defensively, they've been let down in a number of games. And yesterday, they were let down defensively. Hey, it was a bad hop. That sucks. It's a bad hop. Bad hops are going to happen. You'd hope they wouldn't happen on a major league field, but bad hops, I guess, happen. But that bad hop could have, I don't know that it would have been, could have been a double play, the 1 or the 3-6-3 or 3-6-1, depending on, if Altavilla got over there. Could have been. Minimum, it would have been an out. So now you've got 2 outs and 1 run scores and a couple of men on base. Instead of 2 runs coming through and only 1 out, and then you continue the rally that, results in 6 runs being scored.
I think we're cherry picking here, man.
Oh, no, we are.
I think it wouldn't have mattered.
Let me finish. Let me finish. All right. So the first inning happens. You can call it cherry picking all you want, but this is how you get beat down by a Yankees team. The first inning happens, and then in the 7th inning, Nick Lofton decides to tag instead of tossing it to Bobby Witt to get a double play, and a 3-run home run happens. And it's 11-5. You can call it cherry picking, but if Vinny makes the play, or even if Nick Lofton tosses it to Bobby Witt and the double play happens, we're talking about a different story. So, point being, the starting staff has let him down. The bullpen has let him down. The offense has let him down. But one of the things they've been able to rely upon has been their defense. And that is now letting them down. And that's the issue moving forward, is if all of those phases of the game are not performing or are performing at an inadequate level, then you're going to have to get some pretty bad teams for you to start to get hot again. And that's what's scary about the next 4 games, because they got the Yankees today and then the Dodgers. It is 2 plays, but those plays were being made. And it was like, oh, man, what a... But, to your point, you don't get in those situations if you don't put a lot of runners on base, to where you have to then make the play, to where the bad hop can't happen.
Sure.
Because then it's 2 runs and they continue to rally, and you have 6-run inning instead of maybe a 2-run inning, and you can't stop the bleeding. That's all part of it. The defense has bailed them out a number of times this year, and it's just not doing it right now.
My concern is...
This is our concern, dude.
My concern, dude. The rug, it really tied the room together. No,
the defense really tied the team together.
The defense really did tie the team together. I don't want to start getting into, well, if this would have gone their way, they're in it, because that's what we did last year.
I agree.
That's the
I agree.
500 at best type of teams. Well, because
they don't look like a 100-loss team right now.
Yeah,
guys. It's just they play here or there. Yeah,
and then with the Yankees in general, we know they're a great team, and maybe I'm a little harsh right now, but I'm really scared because Seth Lugo has the past 2 starts reverted.
Yeah.
Brady Singer, anytime against a good opponent, crumbles. Michael Walker's been injured. Hunter Renfroe got hot. Now he's injured. If I'm being honest, I'm still thrilled. Where they sit right now, I'm thrilled. But if I told you with a straight face that I wasn't pretty damn worried, well, then you'd be looking in the face of a liar, because I'm pretty damn worried.
I think that's probably the feeling of a lot of people, though, right? I mean, a lot of people are like, look, I like where they're at right now. Expectations have changed. But I feel worried with expectations changing about what the next week, 2 weeks will look like because of the old waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? We talk about that and hear that all the time. But it's a good point that if you just point out and cherry pick little things here and there, I'm just pointing out the fact that the defense has been something that has been their calling card this year. And the defense did not come through. And it's a couple of plays. But we see the difference in a couple of plays. If we go back to earlier this year, and if a diving catch isn't made, or a great scoop isn't made, or turning an unbelievable double play isn't made, or Garcia making a diving play down the line and getting up and throwing somebody out, we see what can happen that builds on that. And it just snowballs from there, especially when you have subpar, substandard pitching on the mound. It's different if it was Cole Reagans, different if it was maybe Lugo. Waka's injury, we know. But with Brady Singer out there and then Dan Altavilla, and then, Daniel Lynch, was fine for the most part. He pitched like, maybe even a little bit better than I thought Daniel Lynch would pitch. My worry yesterday as we were talking with, the three of us and Jack, and my concern about Daniel Lynch was that he would pitch like Daniel Lynch. And I was hoping they would be able to get through the first inning. Didn't realize that 5 of the 6 runs would go to Dan Altavilla. But a play here and there does change things, especially when you're talking about a team that is playing uphill against one of, if not the best teams in baseball, that is also one of the hottest teams in baseball right now. That is difficult. The worry is there. But the worry subsides a little bit when I realize that the final 85 games or so that they have left, 90 games, whatever they have left, they won't all be against the Yankees. And that's a good thing, because if they were, I don't think the Royals would make the postseason if they played the Yankees every single game the rest of the way. It'd be an odd schedule quirk, but I don't think they would make the playoffs if that was the case. They have the Dodgers this weekend. It lightens up, but the importance of it lightening up is, well, now you got to go in and play better baseball.
It's a good measuring stick too.
Yeah,
for
sure.
It's a good time to have it. It's not like August where, oh no, we thought we traded for all the right pieces and we didn't.
Well, that's a really good point, because where the team is right now against a team that, one of the odds-on favorites to be, holding up that piece of metal.
Yeah,
the piece of metal, as Rob Manfred called it.
Yeah.
One of the best, pitching staffs. They're going to get Garrett Cole back. I mean,
that's
think.
wild.
They
don't even have Garrett Cole.
Right.
And this is how they're playing.
The guy pitching yesterday was for Garrett Cole. I mean, that's Garrett Cole's
He'll be the long
rotation.
reliever in the postseason.
Yeah, Nestor Cortez has looked really good. He goes today against Alec Marsh, and Alec Marsh is going to have to go out there and pitch his butt off, man. Some of the best pitching he's seen. But the offense is going to have to do more of what they did in the final 5 innings last night. That looked more like the Royals' offense. The previous few games did not. The previous few games looked like we're pressing, we're trying to just do everything in one at bat. Last night, even down 8-0, they were putting good at bats together. Then down 11-2, and it was like, all right, well, that's game. I mean, at 11-2, once the 3-run shot happened. And that's a decision that Nick Lofton has to make immediately. There Drew Waters in the first inning on Tuesday night. When the ball landed right in front of him, he's in short right field, and you've got an easy throw to home to get the guy out at home. Instead, he goes to second, doesn't get the out there, the run scores, no outs. That was a decision by Drew Waters that may have cost the Royals an out and runs. It was a decision by Nick Lofton last night that may have cost the Royals an out and 3 runs when Gleyber Torres came through. The Vinny one, I don't have as much of a frustration with that as I do Nick Lofton and Drew Waters, because those were just decisions that I'm going to do this with the ball that I have in my hand, as opposed to not even getting that because you're waiting on the bounce, and then all of a sudden it hits something and it bounces 3 feet higher than you thought. Like, well, those things happen. That's unlucky. And Verdugo, it's just going for him right now. Because, by the way, both of those hits were Verdugo. The ground ball to Vinny that had the bad hop was Verdugo. The ground ball to Nick Lofton that should have been a double play was Verdugo. Just both of those, man. He's been very annoying in this. Get your beard back and get off the Yankees. Go somewhere else. Grow your beard back, man.
Stole him from the Red Sox, man.
Yeah, right? I mean, he's been awesome. I just wish he would, not be so they can call up Jason Dominguez for, selfish reasons on a completely different conversation. But that's where sort of that concern is, but it's also the concern is tempered because of what they've done so far. I don't think what they've done is a fluke. I do think playing 600 baseball, there's a regression to the mean for this team. It doesn't mean they have to give back. A regression to the mean doesn't entail that, well, you're playing 600 baseball, so now over a 60-game span, you're going to play 400 baseball because you're a 500 team. That's not what it means. It means you've already won those games. You've already played and won those games. A regression to the mean can be, well, you regress to being the team that you are, which is a 500 baseball team. And if this is really a 500 baseball team, well, then the rest of the way, they would finish 9, 10, 11, somewhere around there, games above 500. That would be the regression part of it. It's not a regression that now they're going to play 400 baseball because they have to be 500 because that's the regression. That's coming back to the middle. You've already won those games. Those have already happened. Now figure out moving forward how you take advantage of that. And what they have looked like against the Yankees might be an indication to the front office of how much they're willing to spend and trade for pieces at the deadline if they feel they are that far away from the Yankees. If they feel they are, we ain't a couple bullpen pieces away here. We're some significant pieces away from winning a World Series. So we add on the margins. We make the postseason. We do what we can do. We go into this offseason. Maybe we have to make a trade that hurts. Maybe we spend a little bit more money. And then we have different prospects that we're willing to move at next trade deadline that we're already setting up for, because that's when we may make our move. Oh, I got it right. Yes, thank God.
Yes, you did.
Oh, I've been nervous about that the whole
According
day.
to me, you got that right. Yes.
You're the only. I'm talking to you, Dylan. You're
Right.
I mean, it's just me and you. We're
Yeah.
just hanging out. Just
That's a
just
great
rapping.
point, though. I think that's what we should do.
Just rapping a little bit. Let's wrap up this segment. We'll take a timeout because we're going to hear from the Chiefs at any minute, at any point, any time. We're told it's fluid when they'll be at the podium, so we will find out. Sterling is recording an interview with somebody that I'm jealous that he's recording the interview with this person for a podcast. Where I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Which is why he's not talking here. We didn't just turn off his mic.
As long as he doesn't ask for a photo, he's fine. That's the only question.
Well, he's got to take a screen grab, right? If
That's
it's
true.
like a Zoom type thing.
That's true.
So I believe he's interviewing Kylie Kelsey.
Yes.
Yeah.
The awesome Kylie Kelsey.
Apparently, I guess it just didn't work out to call into the show.
I don't think so. No,
I have
for
no
some
idea.
weird reason.
Yeah, weird. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hear from the Chiefs. We'll have an open 11 o'clock hour. So we'll get into some football. We'll get into some of the Mavs and Celtics last night. Little Luka issue with the officials, and talk a little bit about the Chiefs as they wrap up their off-season portion. We'll hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in the next segment at some point. More Zone next.
Yeah.
Still, just you got one more game. Hopefully, more than 4. How do you think about Dawson?
I mean, they played hard. Obviously, didn't end the way they wanted it to end. It's kind of been a tough series so far, but I think Lucas said it best. It's not over till it's over. So I'm still gonna be supporting those guys. It's been a great season, and I'm not gonna be able to make Game 4 or anything like that, but I'll be watching.
Patrick, last year at this day, I think you told your teammates that this night was kind of the last night you remember last year. Just wonder if you delivered your teammates any sort of similar message or anything today.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think. You've seen we've enjoyed it. I mean, guys have traveled around and been able to do a lot of great things. But at the same time, I mean, every year in this league, I thought we had a great OTAs and minicamp to this point. But then every year in this league, you have to come in with that same mentality. You have to be hungry. I mean, it's hard. I mean, you saw it last year. You've seen it every year that I've been here. You have to battle in order to win that Super Bowl, and guys have to have that mentality. And I think what Veach and Coach Reed do is they bring in a group of guys that are hungry, and they infuse them with the guys that have been here, and it usually comes in with a great mix when you ever get to training camp.
You even mentioned the word three-peat, and what's the team's approach to the idea of 3 in a row?
Yeah, I mean you can. I mean it's nothing you can be scared of, but at the same time, I mean that's not the mentality. It's a brand new season. I've dealt with it a couple times now, and we know it's going to be every week's going to be a big week. We start off with some great opponents early in the season, so you just have the mentality of just getting yourself better. And in order to win, you have to get better and better every single year, and that's the mentality you have to have.
What are the next few weeks going to be like for you between tonight's ceremony and the start of camp?
I'll be traveling a little bit, but a lot of working out. I mean, it's only I think it's like 4.5 weeks. It's like my shortest kind of second break that I've ever had. So there's not gonna be a lot of off time. Even if I'm on vacation or whatever it is, there's gonna be a lot of working out. And I have a good plan that I have with Bobby. So we're gonna make sure I come in the camp ready to go.
Patrick, with that, do you need to use this time to replenish yourself a little bit too? I mean, you go all the time, and obviously you want to be in peak shape when you come in. But what do you do to kind of restore yourself at this point?
It's pretty simple. I mean, I'm not trying to do anything crazy. I go to sports games and stuff like that, but other than that, it's just spending time with my family, playing golf, and working out.
And is it important though to get some rest in with this as well as stay in condition, or not really?
I'm kind of one of those guys or people just games and stuff like that, but other than that, it's just spending time with my family, playing golf, and working out.
And is it important though to get some rest in with this as well as stay in condition, or not really?
I'm kind of one of those guys or people just in general that doesn't like just sitting still. So the golf course is my rest. So I like to just go out there and hit them and just have a good time out there, and then just spending time with my family and chasing kids around.
When you said that you thought the team had a good OTA and mandatory minicamp period, what leads you to say that compared to obviously seasons in the past? I think it's two things. I think one is just the confidence that the defense has. I mean, just out the year that they had this last year, you can see that they're trying to build on that. And then offensively, obviously, we felt like we didn't play our best last year. And even though we won, we knew we had a lot of places to improve. And I think guys had that mentality coming into OTAs and minicamp. And that's something that I think has gotten the best out of everybody, is that every single day, I mean, y'all hear it. I mean, we're talking trash, but it's in a good way, and then we go off and we talk about it after practice and what we can do better. So it's been a great OTAs and minicamp, one of the best I think that I've ever been a part of.
Patrick, staying with the offense, like with this receivers room, you've got a couple new faces in there, and now that OTAs and minicamp is a little bit in the rear view. How do you think that receivers room is shaping up? I think it's shaping up really well. I mean, I thought Hollywood had a did a great job coming in and being prepared and learning really fast and being able to go out there and make plays. I thought Rasheed did a great job. J. Watt, Sky, all these guys really competed, and I think that's a good thing to have. And I'm excited to get Worthy out there more. I got to throw to him a couple times, but you want to get him out there kind of in some more team-based drills and let him work and learn on the fly. But you saw him learning on the side, and now it's just about him getting ready to be at camp and being in shape and ready to roll there.
Adam?
Patrick, you have a new guy in the quarterback room this year. What's it been like to work with Carson?
It's been great, honestly. I mean, a great dude and super talented. I think that's the first thing I saw. I mean, you see why he was on pace to win the MVP. I mean, the guy can make every throw. He's very smart, intelligent, asks a lot of great questions, and he's been in similar offenses before, so it's easy for him to pick it up, I think. But, I mean, like I say, he's super talented. I think that's the first thing I saw.
Todd, this far into your career, are you still learning anything about yourself or your game through this time?
Yeah, I think this is probably the most comfortable I think I've felt of just being able to not let something affect me. I mean, when you go up against Spags, you're not going to be right 100% of the time, and there's been times where I've lost on blitzes, and Spags gets me with the new pressure that he's working on, and I think it's just being able to, all right, we'll just get the ball in my hand, get it to the check down or wherever that is, and then live to play another play. And I think that's just something I've felt more comfortable with. And then I think it's been cool that we've been trying. Like Coach Reed's back to my old days. He's forcing me to push the ball down the field. If I don't, he throws little jabs at me like, oh, you want to throw the check down here? And I'm like, I got you, Coach. We're gonna push it. And so it's been fun. It's been a great camp, and like I said, I love the competing. I think that's been the biggest thing is competing. Both sides of the ball has been awesome.
PJ?
Just looking back to last year, I mean, it seems like you had a good camp in OTAs last year, and not to dwell on the past, but just what's going to be the difference of last year's performance on the field and then moving into this year? I know the receivers never make a difference, but just
I think it's just a mindset. You have to come in knowing that we're going to get everybody's best shot. I think we know that, but at the same time, I think we were a young team last year, and we kind of grew up as the season went on. And I think this year you have to learn from those mistakes you made last year. And, I mean, it's just this close. I mean, that's how the NFL is. I mean, you look back at the season, I think there's probably 3 or 4 games that if we would have came out with wins, we'd have been the 1 seed from the get-go. So you just have to make sure that you capitalize on those opportunities, don't make those mistakes, and try to win those games that we lost last year.
We'll do last 3, Pete, Matt, Sam. Go ahead, Pete.
Pat, Michelle mentioned the receivers, but specifically Hollywood was the big addition. He's from Dallas until now. How far have you seen him come, and just where's your chemistry at headed into training camp?
No, I mean, he's done a great job. I mean, it's hard to learn this offense, and I feel like he's done a great job picking it up very fast. And then obviously you see the ability. Honestly, I don't know how he's here in our place because of how talented he is, and I can just see that it's going to be a great season for him. And it's going to take pressure off other guys, and I think it's going to help get Trav open, help get Rasheed open. It's going to help get all these guys open because you're going to have that speed threat that can run routes and do all those different things. So I'm very excited to get him out there in the regular season.
Matt, you had a play with Hollywood yesterday. That was a deep ball against the blitz. You know, he said he saw the blitz coming, knew he had to get down there. How is that, developing as far as his recognition and kind of figuring out how you think and you knowing how he's going to think in situations like that?
No, I think it's cool because it was very similar to a play that we had ran earlier in OTAs in a practice that y'all weren't at where there was kind of a cover 0 type blitz, and I tried to throw it up early, and it wasn't necessarily the route that how it was supposed to be ran, but I was just like, hey, if you see the pressure, you got to get over there. I'm going to put it up in there and let you run underneath it. And then that was the thing. He picked that up, and then that was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then he came back, and same exact type play, same pressure, and he got over there. I threw the ball the same as I threw it last time, and he catches it for a touchdown. So that's the stuff that I'm talking about. It's not only the physical ability that he has, but he's a smart football player, and I'm excited to get him out there and have a great training camp going up against Spags. I think you get to learn everything you can possibly learn, and then get into the regular season and get ready to roll.
Last one, Sam.
Patrick, last year when you got your ring, you sent out a tweet on social media. It was pretty clearly a reference to what other players had said. Just wondered, how far in advance have you pre-planned something like that? Do you have something planned?
I don't think anyone said anything, so I think I'm in a good spot. I'll have to think of a caption and try to come up with something that could go viral like that.
Yet. Nobody has said anything yet, but the day isn't done. And they've got their ring ceremony tonight. Nobody said anything. We'll see what that caption is. We'll hear from Andy Reid whenever he gets to the podium. But Patrick Mahomes won't be at Game 4, but made sure to be there at Game 3 last night. Doesn't need to be a Game 4 now. If they won last night, would it be a Game 4? I don't know. I'm not sure. But he said a shorter offseason between OTA's minicamp and training camp this year than one he's ever had. So
I love the glowing reviews on Hollywood. Man,
yes,
I've tried to tamper my expectations. I really have. But when I keep hearing everyone just glowingly talk about him, I go, yeah, maybe he's not a 900-yard receiver. Maybe it's more of 1,100.
Well, I want to talk about that. We'll do that at 11 o'clock. I definitely want to get into that conversation because you brought up something there that I want to touch on. Also, what Patrick Mahomes was saying, what Andy Reid was telling him.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting that Patrick would see an opening, check it down, and Andy Reid would sarcastically look at him and go, "You're going to check that down? Are you just going to check that one down? You're not going to look down. You're just going to check that one down. Okay, that's fine." And walk away. And Patrick going, "All right, coach, I got you."
Yeah.
All right. I love Andy Reid is clearly annoyed and tired of the check down.
Yes.
Andy Reid's done with they got Patrick Mahomes over Alex Smith for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay, if they wanted to keep check down Charlie, they would have kept Alex Smith at the time. They went and got Patrick Mahomes because they wanted to do different things with this offense that Andy Reid wanted to involve. And last year, he was probably as annoyed as anybody that they couldn't get that open. And now Patrick, you're checking it down? You're just going to check that down? Okay, cool. Hey, let's run something else here. You check down? That's cool.
Took Andy 5 years to get Alex Smith to finally stop checking it down. Took him. He's like, no, we're not reverting.
No,
we're not
Patrick,
reverting.
That was 1 year. I got you Hollywood. I got you X. I even brought back McCole. there ain't no check downs. The check down better be the last one. That's your check down is because you've gone through your reads and nothing's open. I'm going to need you to push the ball down the field. And this is the second time, by the way. Sorry, this is the second time Patrick has talked about the challenge from Andy Reid to push the ball down the field, to throw it deep.
I thought his thoughts on Spags were interesting too. As far as you got to understand that Spags, this is his time to try stuff out, and yeah, no wonder why Spags is so damn good. Why his defense is so good and so unique. You're going up against Mahomes in practice.
Yep.
You're not going up against, Brady Quinn or Brody Croyle or Ryan Tannehill. You're going up against the best of the best.
Yeah, and Carson Wentz.
Well,
QB1 battle, do you think, Sterling?
Apparently he can make all the throws.
He makes all the throws. Every throw. He's got great athleticism, He's familiar with the offense a little bit.
I don't want him.
I love the backup. I love the pickup from him, though, by the way. I love that.
It's great. Here's Andy Reid.
Good finish up here on a positive note. The guys ran today and did a nice job with that. They look like they're have a good foundation. They'll come back and they'll have an actual test, conditioning test when they get back. So, but they sure have worked hard this off season and they finished it up again today. It's been productive, in particular for the young guys, but also for some of the free agents that we brought in, or the draft picks. So they've done well. So with that, and then we'll take a little break here. Coaches and players. Players normally take about a week off, and then it's ramp-up time after that. So they've got to get themselves ready for training camp. Message is just make sure that you come back ready to go to the players. So with that, time's yours.
Patrick and Hollywood seem to have just developed more chemistry throughout. And Patrick was talking about a ball that he and Hollywood had earlier, a deep ball that they missed connection on against like a cover zero. Yesterday they hit on a very similar play. How do you see that learning, just how those two guys operate together, kind of developing?
Yeah, as a coach, you look for the communication part, where they're willing to share what they're thinking with one another. And they've got a good connection with that part of it. They're talking. And once Patrick knows what Hollywood's thinking, and Hollywood kind of knows where Patrick physically can get the ball to, and the location of the field, not as much depth as location of the field, then that's a good thing. Yeah.
Coach, Patrick mentioned a couple of times this camp when he wasn't maybe forcing it, you maybe give him a little jab, you're going to take the check down and all that. He said he likes that, to be challenged. Is that kind of the mantra this year, to kind of take some more chances?
Yeah, well,
maybe not chances.
Yeah, so really in this camp, and I always explain this to the quarterbacks, is that this is the time to find out what you can get away with in the pass game. So there are going to be interceptions that take place, but that's okay. Right now you're testing things, and then as you go through camp, as camp goes on, then you start refining it, and hopefully you have the opportunity to do it on every route. Now, is that possible? Probably not, but at least the ones that you haven't done a lot of, and so we're always feeding Patrick new things, and that's to help challenge him because he likes that, and it also makes us better. So he gets in there and he's trying to work with these new routes against all these different coverages that Spags is throwing at you. So it's a nice challenge there.
Coach, going into camp, generally speaking, how are you viewing Suamataia versus Morris for that open left tackle role?
Yeah, listen, they've both done a nice job. So like the production that we've seen from both of them are young guys. So we'll just see how it all finishes up through camp. It's good competition. We're going to end up playing the 5 best guys, and we'll go from there. But we'll just see how it all plays out.
Andy, a night like tonight, where you get the ring ceremony, and for some of these guys it's their third time, I mean, how much do you use a night like tonight and say, hey, it's over, we got to move on, or you notice these guys are just, they've already moved on?
Yeah, I said that at the first minicamp, or the first OTA, whatever you want to call them. So it goes by fast. Once you get through that parade, you're kind of off and heading in the direction of the new season. But it's a night, I don't want to slight tonight, because there's a lot that goes into that. And there's a lot of hard work that's gone into it. And this is kind of the reward for it. But I think the guys know that it's going to be nice to get the ring, but they've moved on. Yeah.
Andy, Joe Tooney, how's he doing, and what's the plan for him when you guys get to St. Joe?
Yeah, so Joe's working his tail off, getting better. We'll just we've got to see exactly how that thing works at him. I'm not sure. We've got to get clearance from the doctor and all that whole process that goes on as we go. But he's made good progress, and he'll be one of those guys that's kind of right on the border, whether he can go or not go from the healing part of it. So,
I mean, is it reasonable to expect that he could be ready to go when the regular
yeah,
season starts?
Yes, for the regular season. Yeah, I think we should be okay unless there's a setback somewhere. Yeah.
Coach, similar question. Do you think Xavier Worthy is going to be able to go at the beginning of training camp?
Yeah, he should be able to. He'll continue to get treatment here. He's getting better. He'll get treatment, and we'll just see how he rehabs through that.
We've also seen Leo, Chanel, and Derek Naughtyson. I know his elbow is still.
Yeah.
Are they looking?
Yeah, elbow and back. Yeah, they're both doing good. Range of motion for Naughty, and then Leo's close. He's doing a nice job.
What exactly is Dylan Leo?
His back, yeah.
Coach, just to go back to Patrick for a second, I wonder if he's so hardwired to go for it, but now as he's matured, he's learned other ways. Do you actually find that you need to prompt that as more than you would have in the past to get him take it down?
No, he's got a good feel for that. Right now in the pass camp, you're challenging him to take the difficult throw.
Yeah. Okay.
All we're doing is throwing the ball. So you can check it down, and the defense knows that, so they get deep drops. You can sit there and check it down all day, but you're not getting work on those tight window throws. A great opportunity to work those here. So it's not going to be the guy that's wide open necessarily. It's going to be where you got to dot it. It helps you with your accuracy and velocity and timing, all those things.
It's not like the mindset of late last season where you guys kind of contoured to the playing with the defense, knowing how they could handle it. It goes into this season. He's
well, we'll see. We'll see. Just see how it all rounds out. But you've got a little bit more speed on the outside than maybe we did last year. So if you can use it, you use it. If it's available, take it. If not, you work your progression.
Andy, what concern?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Coach, what are you going to do for your break? What are you and your wife going to do? Are you going to put your Super Bowl ring on? Do you ever wear your ring?
I don't. Keep this one sacred, right there. I don't wear the other one. Others, she wears them. I'm not sure but she likes to wear them, but I'll take a break here. I've got a place out west there. I'll go veg for a minute, but still keep my eye on things.
Andy, what did consume most of your time during your self-scout or self-evaluation during the off-season? We've seen you work on the deep passing game. I just wonder if that consumes most of your time now.
Yeah, it's getting that timing down with the new people, and then what do the new people do well? So let's see what they can do. Now, with Xavier, we weren't able to do a whole lot of that because of the injury. But you bring McCole back in, and then you've got Hollywood. You got two fast guys, so you can kind of work some things in there and see what they look like. We kind of know the game between 4 and 87 and how they work off of each other. But we were able to expand that too and give them a little bit more to work on. But I would tell you just how the pieces are going to fit is kind of what we spent most of the time on.
We'll do a few more and we'll go Matt.
Coach, Travis has said that Jared Wiley is light years ahead of where he was as a rookie as far as understanding the offense and getting in. How important is that, especially, with the idea that you want to back off Travis's work a little bit, kind of manage his time somewhat?
Yeah, I don't know how much we're going to back off on his time. He wants to be worn out. We can help him with that. But Wiley, he's got a good feel, but he's also got two good guys there between Noah and Trav that he can bounce things off of. And Tom's been doing it. We're into the offense more than what Trav was in, than what we were when Trav was coming up. And so those guys help share it, and Tom does a nice job teaching them and spending extra time with them. And he comes from a passing offense, so he's had a couple of different ones, but good passing offense. He's got a nice feel for the game. He's a big target. He's a good player.
Todd, you were talking to your son Spencer down at the Super Bowl about if you could ever really turn it off, and he said, generally, you'll find you in the office with cards, writing plays. Do you ever take, how much time do you really take off, or is your mind always on making plays in football?
Yeah, I try to take the mornings and or the evenings and just spend a little bit of time with it every day. I mean, I enjoy doing it. So, but my grandkids occupy some time when I get this break. 13 of them, that's a lot of juggling, right? So you want to spend as much time as you can with them, and you're not thinking about football when you're doing it. You're thinking about them jumping off the cliff or something, doing something crazy. So you gotta keep a close eye on them.
PJ?
Andy, I know bringing back experienced guys is always crucial to this team. I mean, just how much can that aid you in the offseason, OTAs, and everything, just with the competition?
Say the first part of that.
Well, just with bringing veterans back every year.
Yeah.
How much does that help?
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, they set the tempo on it, and they create the competition. I think that you're talking about here, and you hear them jabbing out. You've heard it yesterday. We're down right by you guys, and you hear them challenging each other as much as they can in a non-contact environment here. So, but there's good competition on both sides of the ball against each other, and I think that's healthy and important. So. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
All right, good. Thank you. Have a good break.
All right, there's Andy Reid. We will have a good break. We'll take it right now. We'll come back, more Zone right after this. There's clearly a lot of excitement around the Chiefs with Hollywood. Patrick Mahomes has said glowing things about him. The other players have as well. So we'll talk a little bit about Hollywood Brown's numbers. And just interesting hearing Andy Reid talk about the passing camp. Okay, so we hear it's just a passing camp. It's a passing camp. There are certain things you can get done, but you understand that this is more about the passing game. And for him to say, it's not necessarily saying don't check down because we don't want to get into the habit of checking down. It's you could check down all day and find the open receiver, but this is to get better. Go through that window, throw it through a dart, and make that completion.
The Zone is presented by Guaranteed Foods, delivering all natural food to Midwestern families since 1958. Enjoy healthier food, more free time, free delivery, and better value. Go to GuaranteedFoods.com.
Matt Lane comes up at noon. KC Sports Network. We'll talk with him about the Chiefs. They wrap up their mandatory minicamp today. Next time we see the Chiefs will be in St. Joe, getting ready for the season to start tonight. I guess we'll get a chance to see him tonight at the ring ceremony and the red carpet. Todd Lebo will be working the red carpet. And I believe he said he's going to be in swimming trunks and flip-flops, going straight from the pool, since right around...
Sounds like a Mick move.
Right around red carpet will be red hot, like 96 degrees. The carpet actually was just white.
Lava. It was lava.
It was white. It turned red from the sun, and so that's going on today. So there will be some sound and everything from different players that'll be there getting their ring. Some players getting their third, some getting their second, and of course some getting their first rings. And so Todd Lebo will be out there covering that for us. But whew, the hottest day of the year so far is when he's suit and tie, probably, like maybe three-piece suit for Todd.
Oh, vest for sure.
Top hat, something like that.
The bowler hat, I think. The newspaper hat, yeah.
Oh, like the Kango?
Yeah.
Right.
I do think if you are going to wear a suit, make sure it's not wool. Make sure you don't bust out I have a suit, let me bust out the wool suit. Bad choice.
Well, Todd's going to get dressed, and then he's going to get ready to go, and he's going to step out the house, stop short. Oh, no. He went back in because he forgot his Kango.
Yeah, as a bald guy, you don't do Kangold in the summer.
What?
Just can't. It's too...
Don't dally? Go by the alley?
Nah, can't do it.
Okay.
It's the wool. It gets hot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do the netted mesh cap.
That makes sense. But, the Newsies had them all. They didn't care. I mean, come on, man. Back in the day, we saw pictures of at baseball games, they're wearing suits to games, and we're complaining about, it's so hot.
We're soft these days.
I've got my shorts on and my T-shirt, and they're like, man, I'm wearing a tie and a shirt.
A three-piece suit.
Yeah,
they never got burnt back in the day.
Dressed to the nines.
They never got burnt back in the day because they were all wearing suits. No
and
wonder.
Hats.
And hats.
Suits and hats.
They were very good when it came to protecting their skin from the sun.
Absolutely. The most exposed people out there were the baseball players.
And they still wore wool. Like, it was like...
They were wearing their shirt sleeves.
Yeah. I do find it interesting that Dylan, when I first started with him, had the longest, most lush hair, and now he just decided to cut it off. Like, he was a hockey player.
That's because he's a great dude.
Yeah.
He donated that hair.
There's no reason to hold on.
He cut off his hair and donated it.
His hair was...
Did it once, and exactly.
Yeah, great lettuce. You had great lettuce.
Yeah, and he donated it to somebody that needs it more than Dylan needed
it.
It's
one last ride, and then you donate it to someone who needs it.
Did you put it on... What's the old thing where you just moved it from your head to your beard? Because that's what he basically did. Dylan, what was the
transplant?
the old, the old like little...
Yeah,
game
I did, instead of doing it from the beard to the head, I did the opposite. Yeah,
got some hair plugs up on
cheaper.
your beard. That's right. It's there are plenty of I can't grow a beard. It just doesn't. I don't. This part right here doesn't connect. It doesn't connect right there. I don't know why it doesn't connect. I just got some plugs in there just so it can connect. So now I got the full Fu Manchu. I didn't have it before. Line beard couldn't connect right there. It's ridiculous. And I'm like, how am I supposed to walk around in college in the early 2000s without a line beard?
Oh, the chin strap.
Yeah.
You're talking chin strap.
Come on, man. Yeah,
Fred
absolutely.
Durst. Come on. Everyone wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah, Fred Durst. All right, so what do we think about Hollywood Brown? Hollywood Kid. What are the numbers for Hollywood this year? If we're guessing on what he's going to have this year, okay, assuming health. Let's just put that aside. Assuming health. We don't know what Rashee Rice's games and playing time is going to be. We have no idea about that, how much he's going to be suspended, how long he's going to be suspended, if he's going to be suspended this year, or will it, carry over into next year, et cetera. And, Xavier Worthy, little concerning that he hasn't been out there since the second day of rookie minicamp. And Andy Reid saying that for Xavier Worthy, if he's going to be ready for training camp, said that he should be able to go. He's getting treatment. He's getting better. We'll just see how that goes. Now, a few weeks ago, when OTAs first started, he wasn't practicing because it was precautionary. It was a precautionary thing. If they had to play a game that day, he would have played. That's what we heard, right? If he had to play, if there was a game today, he'd be playing. And now it's, well, he's continuing to get treatment on that leg. We'll see how it goes. He should be able to go by training camp. I mean, there's obviously Andy Reid is making sure that he's not going to say something that, he's good to go, and then he's not good to go. It's, he should be good to go.
No day-to-day.
Yeah.
No day-to-day.
No kidding. We all are, but no day-to-day, nothing like that. But, he's making sure that he's going to couch his statements and not be definitive that he's perfectly fine. But still, it's 4 weeks that he has been held out with, the hamstring for Xavier Worthy. And somebody that runs as fast as he does, and speed is his weapon. Soft tissue injuries are scary, and Sammy Watkins dealt with that throughout his career. And it's a nugget you keep in mind, set it aside. When you get to training camp, we'll reassess.
Yeah.
Because they've got 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever, until they're there in St. Joe.
I talked to Briscoe about this, actually, and your former co-host.
Never heard of him.
Never heard
Corey?
Yeah.
You talked to Corey?
Talked to Corey.
That's awesome, man. How's he doing?
JB Briscoe. And we were just talking about, we were like, where's your concern level with Worthy on a scale of 1 to 10?
Mm-hmm.
I said 2. I think he said 3. Again, I'm not super worried because it's June 13th. Like, the whole thought of, well, what if it was, well, it's not. We're not in September.
Well,
We're
what
not
if it was
there.
October 15th and he still hasn't played?
It's like,
my concern level would be bigger, dude.
Yes, like as it sits on June 13th, it's a nugget, as you mentioned. But I'm not going to sit here and be. They're not going to push him. Like everyone's like, well, he needs to get out there. Why? He's still learning the playbook.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's still out there with the dudes. He's mashing with the boys, in the words of Luis Rizama. Is it mashing with the boys?
Mashing with the boys at training.
Mashing with the boys at training.
Is what he was doing when he was kicking the football around while running.
I'm not super worried about Xavier Worthy as it sits on June 13th. I'm just not.
Let's talk about Hollywood Brown. What do we have in Hollywood Brown in terms of numbers? What do we think he's going to be this year before we get to training camp and really see what he can do? But look, and we'll reassess before the season, and we'll go through the over-unders, the ZOUs for the Chiefs, and go more on record. But just a general idea of what we think he can be this year. And Andy Reid talked about a big portion of this is getting used to the new guys. Mm-hmm. The new guys getting used to this. Him finding out what they can do. As he said, they got a pretty good idea of what 4 and 87 can do and how they work together. Which, by the way, next time a player is interviewed and says the number of the opposing player and somebody gets offended, like, don't even know his name. Andy Reid, speaks in numbers. That's what football players do. But number 4 and 87, they work together. They're good. They know what they have there. But other guys that are new guys, Xavier Worthy, unfortunately, not being able to do that. But there have been glowing reviews of Hollywood Brown so far with those that have been out there watching practices and the players. There is an element of being excited for Hollywood Brown, being overly excited for Hollywood Brown, and I think there's an element of, okay, how good is he actually going to be? We've seen some of the numbers in his career, but I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. I'm pumped for Hollywood Brown. I wanted Hollywood Brown, and one of the reasons I'm excited about him being with the Chiefs is that they clearly needed the weapon. They needed the speed. We know about that. But when you look through his career and the motley crew of quarterbacks that he played with injuries to Lamar, injuries to Kyler Murray, and when he actually played with Lamar and Kyler Murray, what his numbers looked like then, as opposed to he's getting the ball thrown to him from Trace McSorley.
Oh, come on, Clayton Tune, stud.
Sorry.
Stud.
Josh Dobbs, Josh Johnson, Colt McCoy,
Tyler Huntley,
RG3.
And if we're being fair, every year Lamar gets better as a passer. So when he was with Lamar, he was not the Lamar Jackson.
Well, yeah,
very good point.
And he was with Lamar in the offense that people were complaining about that, they
Didn't throw it to the receivers
wouldn't
enough.
let Lamar go and be Lamar. They
What
were
did he
so
say?
running.
He tweeted and deleted. If you have dogs, you got to let them be dogs or
Yep,
something like that.
that's exactly right.
And he still went over 1,000 yards that year.
That's right.
1,008.
It is the only time he's gone over 1,000 yards, so he's got one of those in his career. So there's the skepticism of Hollywood Brown. Some injuries that have happened. There's some skepticism of Hollywood Brown. What would his numbers have been last year if he did not get injured and could play a good portion of the second half of the season with Kyler Murray? He played the early part of the season without Kyler. They crossed over for a little bit before Hollywood got injured, and then Kyler finished out the year. He's a guy that in 52 games or 53 games that he has played with Lamar and Kyler Murray in his career, the numbers come to, on average, for a season with Lamar and Kyler Murray, 125 targets, 78 receptions, 997, and 7 touchdowns. That's over the course of the year. In the 20 games he has played with, RG3, Trace McSorley, Tyler Huntley, Josh Johnson, Colt McCoy, Clayton Tune, Josh Dobbs. I think that's...
Is that it? Only those guys?
I think those are the only ones.
Only the rotating Chiefs cast of quarterbacks in the early 2000s?
Yeah. He would average over the course of the season 137 targets, because they targeted him more when they were in there, which is 12 more targets over the course of the season. 74 receptions, which is 4 fewer catches with 12 more targets. 728 yards. It's 270 short with those guys, and 4 touchdowns, as opposed to so almost half the touchdowns, 270 yards short in terms of yards, with 12 more targets over the course of the season in what it would average out to be. Now you take that's early Lamar, Kyler and him getting used to each other in an NFL offense, right? We know about the college stuff, but in an NFL offense, there's going to be an acclimation period with Patrick Mahomes. But now you got Patrick Mahomes. Now you got an offense that's going to want to throw it. Now you've got a guy that the Chiefs are going to utilize those weapons. I think he can get to 80, if healthy. I think he can get to 85 or 90 receptions this year.
Yeah.
I think he can get to 1,100 yards, and I'd put him at 8 or 9 touchdowns. That's how good I think he can be this year, if healthy.
Yes. He has played an average of 14.4 games per year, right? Because he played 14 games, 16, 16, 12, 14, okay?
Okay.
So if you play 14 games a season, you divide by 1,000, let's just say 1,000 yards. That's 66.66, repeating, of course, yards per game to get to 1,000. Can he get 66.66 yards per game to get to 1,000 in 14 games? I think the answer is yes.
Yeah.
If he plays 15 games, which is the other side, just the slightly more than average for him. This isn't even 17. I'm even taking into account what happens if he misses a game or 2. It's a long season. If he plays all 17, I think he gets to 1,000 relatively easy now. That's 71 yards per game, basically. 71.4 yards per game if he were to play 15 games. Does that seem attainable? Yeah, it does seem attainable. And I don't want to say, not negative, I was conservative in my opinion of him coming to Kansas City. I saw the contract. I go, what does that say about him? What does the NFL say about him right now? But the more I've heard Mahomes talk and Andy Reid talk and the other receivers talk, the more I'm like, okay, he's going to be utilized not just as a deep threat, which I think was always a misconception of Hollywood Brown. His average yards per reception for his career are 11.6. It's not like a 16-yard guy. It's not like every once in a while MVS is coming down with the ball. I believe Hollywood Brown's going to be used a lot in the intermediate routes. He's going to be used a lot in that 6 to 10 yard range as well. Those shallow crossers, I think he's going to thrive there. I've been more and more intrigued about what he's going to become, and he even had me as I don't want to say a naysayer, but more conservative over here, start to get more excited about okay, he might go over 1,000, and maybe it's 1,100, especially with Rashee Rice, commissioner's exempt list, missing games, however it's going to break down. I'm thrilled for Hollywood Brown. If you're telling me right now he plays in 15 games and averages 66.66, again repeating, of course, yards per game to get to 1,000, I'm locking that in. So if you look at what I did for what the course of the season would look like over 17 games, if you just take the numbers that he had with Lamar and Kyler Murray. So that was 78 receptions, 997 yards, and 7 touchdowns. So you're saying he's averaged 14.4 games per year. So that would look like if he only played 14.4 games, because you can play a 0.4 of a game. Yeah, of course.
You
Of
can play a
course.
half- you
Of
can- You can
course.
play a half game. He can play late into the third quarter or whatever.
That is how betting
Or,
nods. That's
late
how
in the
betting
se-
nods are
late
played.
in the
though.
second quarter.
Betting nods are played like
He can play almost a halftime in a game. That would be 66 receptions, 844, and still 6 touchdowns in 14 games. It's almost 3 games. Less than and maybe he doesn't need to play in a week 18. That'd be great.
One might be week 18, and
It'd be great if he doesn't have to. And again, we're talking about health. So even if we're saying, well, he's played in 14.4, well, if we're talking about health, what he's done, what would be the course of 17 games, is 78 receptions, 997 yards, and 7 touchdowns when he's played with starting quarterbacks. A 2-time MVP in Lamar Jackson, and a number 1 overall pick in Kyler Murray.
I think, quite frankly, slightly underrated now. I think people forget how good Kyler was relatively when he was healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, he took the Cardinals to the playoffs. And it wasn't like that Cardinals team was stacked. I mean, they had some good players, DeAndre Hopkins, but, this is going to be by far the best passing offense Hollywood has ever played with. I think Dylan brought up a phenomenal point. As good as Lamar Jackson is, 2-time MVP, he didn't really elevate his passing game until quite the last year or two, most likely even last year. I mean, that's a very good point. He went over 1,000 yards when Lamar was still checking the ball down, wild.
They weren't. That offense wasn't designed to take advantage of.
They still aren't, really.
Yeah, I mean, the offense was, it was Lamar and then throw it deep to Hollywood.
It was 6.9 yards per target was that year.
And Mark Andrews. Or whatever two tight ends they had, basically.
Right.
I mean, that was Todd Heap. Was it Todd? No. 6.9 yards per target when he went over 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, you think that's going to go up a little bit with
I would
good old
hope.
Mahomes as QB?
I would certainly hope. He has played roughly 30% of his games in his career in the NFL have been played with the RG3, Trace McSorley, the backup quarterbacks, the non-Lamar and Kyler Murray. So a third of his games, a little less than a third of his games, have been played with backup quarterbacks. So, again, assuming health, what is he going to look like through a full season in this offense with Patrick Mahomes and doing something that they have been starving for the last couple of years since Tyreek Hill went down to the Miami Dolphins? And not only did they want that, they addressed it the way that Brett Veach addresses needs on teams. He throws the kitchen sink at it. We need speed and aggressiveness on the defense. Let's just go get everybody. That's speed and aggressiveness on defense. We're going to get guys that are going to run, and they're going to freaking tackle, okay? And they're not going to be afraid of tackling, okay? We're going to do that in the draft and free agency. Hey, man, you need an offensive line. All right, we're going to revamp the entire offensive line. We're going to get a new left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, and right tackle. We're going to get all 5 new starters, whether it be the draft or free agency or trade. We got 5 new guys on this offensive line. Hey, man, you guys need speed on the offense. Great. We're going to go get Hollywood. We're going to get Xavier. We're going to bring back McCole Hardman. We're going to still have Justin Watson. We are going to be fast this year. It's not going to be like last year where the teams were daring us to go deep. We're going to do that. And Brett Veach has addressed a lot of the issues and the suboptimal elements of the team, and he's gone over the top in addressing that to make sure that doesn't become an issue that next year.
They did the Bill Walsh revamp of the defensive back room. When they drafted Ronnie Lott, they actually drafted Eric Wright and Carlton Williamson in the same draft because their DBs were so bad for so long that he was sick of it. And it's actually a really good way to do it because you are throwing a lot of darts at the board for just one position.
Yep.
And you can hit on, all of them.
And it's what Tyreek Hill allowed them to do.
Yep.
What they were afforded the opportunity to do that with the Tyreek Hill trade, but they still had to get it right. They still had to be good at drafting, developing, assessing, scouting, coaching, all of that. They still had to be able to do that. And to see that, and a little bit lucky because Trent McDuffie was there.
Yes.
And if Trent McDuffie wasn't there, they're not trading up to get Kyer Elam.
That's a triple 20 right there. Keep it in dart terms. You can give a bad dart player a lot of darts. If you give a bad GM a lot of darts, they're going to miss the board more times than not.
Mike Mayock?
Yeah. You give Brett Veach.
They got darts with the Khalil Mack trade and some other that they didn't hit those
Alex
darts.
Leatherwood?
I thought that was all Gruden's work, though.
Cleveland Farrell and Alex Leatherwood and
they got a good running back.
They did get Josh Jacobs
in the first round. Yeah,
that is
right.
true. They got a good running back in the
but
first
you give
round.
Brett Veach a good dart player a lot of darts. He's going to hit you a lot of 20s. He's going to hit you some triple 20s, which is Trent McDuffie. Sorry if you're a dart player. Bullseye is fine and all, but we're not playing cricket. We're playing 501. You want to get as many points as possible.
Bullseyes are boring, okay? Plus they're
triple
fascist.
20s.
Go get 20s.
I mean, they're red. Come on.
Right? Come on.
But
That's what I tell my son all the time. Hey, pitch to contact, man. Strikeouts are boring, plus they're fascist. Okay? Let everybody else get involved in the game here, all right? Come on, dude.
But
save your pitch count. Come on, we need to go to the 6th here.
But he's done a great job, Brett Veach, of, again, in dart terms of cricket, maybe it's not a triple 20, but it's a 15. He's keeping it going. He's not missing the board on a lot of picks. Like, whatever your thoughts are on where players are drafted, where McColl's drafted, fine, but he was at least a fine player. It wasn't a complete whiff.
Right.
And what I find interesting is really quickly on Hollywood Brown is he brought in a guy who can play in the slot and on the outside. He's probably going to play the majority on the outside, but with Rashee Rice, the concerns of him, if they don't trust Sky in the slot, because we know we don't trust him on the outside, but maybe they don't trust Sky in the slot at all. Well, this thing now gets interesting. Hollywood Brown has played 37% of his snaps in the slot his rookie year, 35% his first year in Arizona. Then it went down to 20 last year, but that's because they didn't have a lot of receivers. Either DeAndre Hopkins left. But throughout his career, he's played nearly 30% of his snaps in the slot. So he can play there if need be. You have a weapon who can go inside and outside. I don't know if you want Xavier in the slot because of his size, just that concern, making him learn a new 2 different spots receiver-wise. So I think that's another aspect that we're not completely taking into account here is Hollywood Brown can play inside and outside. You can use him all over the field. Already sounds like he's a nice rapport with Mahomes. The more and more I've heard talkings of Hollywood, the more and more excitement I'm having.
Well, you think back to last year, 11 personnel for this Chiefs team. Obviously Kelsey. But then it was Rashee Rice, Mecole Hardman, Rashee Rice, MVS, and Justin Watson.
Yeah.
Were your 3 guys. 11 personnel this year would be Kelsey, Rashee Rice, Hollywood, and Xavier Worthy, if healthy. You're exchanging MVS and Justin Watson for Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy. Well, the things that Andy Reid can do with the speed element of going deep, with Rice working underneath, also PFF, Rice was literally the most efficient and the best graded receiver on wide receiver screens. Now, you might go, well, yeah, it's a wide receiver screen. Right. But literally every single player in the NFL is graded on those. And PFF went through their top grades for every single route run. Now, Amon-Ra had like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Because Brandon Ayuk had 2, by the way. But then like a go route, Tyreek Hill,
Sure.
the names you would expect, right? 2 Chiefs showed up in that. And it was really surprising. The second one was shocking to me. The first one, Rashee Rice, was not surprising. You had to have at least 10 targets at a specific route. And as anybody that had 10 targets as a wide receiver screen, Rashee Rice was the best in the NFL. And that's even taken away a touchdown that he had when it was a BS block in the back by Jawan Taylor, who also got hit from behind, and Jawan Taylor fell into the defender because he got knocked from behind. That was a touchdown for Rashee Rice. That's taken away. He was still number 1 in the NFL in doing that. So you add that aspect with the speed element, and we know how Travis Kelce works. Like, I think this is an offseason where I don't think Andy Reid's going to do much just sitting around and he's going to be at the summer house, the lake house, and they already talk about he's always in his office. Oh, he's at the lake house, but he's always in his office drawing up plays. I mean, I can't imagine what his offseason is going to be, thinking of all of the different speed and weapons that they have and how to utilize those 4 guys running routes at the same time. Kelsey, Rice, Hollywood, and Xavier, if healthy and not suspended.
Well, and that's the thing is, even if we talk about Rashee Rice, Hollywood, and Xavier in 11 personnel, once Rashee Rice comes back, it's still an upgrade having Hollywood, Xavier, and Justin Watson. If that's how it breaks down early on, you're still switching out basically early on because Rashee Rice didn't play a lot early on last year, right? It took a long ramp-up period. So that was MVS, not McCall, because McCall wasn't here yet. I'm trying to think of who the third Sky,
Tony.
Yeah, Tony, I guess.
They threw him in. It was their fault.
You're right. It was Tony.
It was their fault, Sterling. They put him in a bad position. He had missed training camp, and they put him right in there to play football. And they put him in a really bad position of being open.
They trusted a guy whose name or his position starts with wide receiver to be a receiver. That's on them.
Yeah,
that's on them.
Quite literally, it's in the name of his position is to do what he was unable to do last year, and that's their fault. They put him in a tough spot.
Okay, really quickly, that I joked about, and now I'm starting to think there's actually some validity to this. Kadarius Toney might make the roster. Okay, well, I don't think that's news. That's not news. But you know how we joked about
breaking news. Hold on, Sterling. You have breaking NFL news right now. I just saw you look down.
Kadarius Toney might make the roster.
Woo! Hey, come back, man. Get off that ledge. Come on back. All right, it's
tough.
too dangerous now.
It was
all
tough.
right, I'm scared for you. You've got a family. Okay, you got people that care about you. Move back. Here we go. All right, let's talk. Go.
When we joked about Justin Reed being the kickoff kicker, right? We joked about that, and now we're like, oh, that actually might be the case.
Yeah.
Jokingly, but only slightly, Chiefs need some running backs.
Oh, yeah.
Kadarius Toney can't catch. Kadarius Toney has pretty damn good vision. Decent vision. He can play special teams.
Yeah, he's definitely your punt returner now.
Do they give him a couple of handoffs?
Oh, yeah.
Because he can't drop. Well, I didn't say he can't drop it, but I'm just saying. Give Toney the ball out of the backfield. We know dude's electric.
Well,
does he get?
They say he is.
Does he get a couple of handoffs now and then?
Well, they
if
try.
Xavier Worthy doesn't take that spot from him, then we have issues.
No. That's end rounds. I'm talking
legit. Out of backfield.
I'm talking
they gave
legit
him a few.
Debo Samuel-esque type of.
I thought you meant like kickoff. Because that people are looking for running backs for the kickoff.
No, I'm with you.
They gave him a few last year. So they were trying to find ways because they realized they couldn't throw it to him and have him catch the ball consistently. So they handed the ball off to him in the backfield a number of times. There was one particular one that I felt like he missed a wide open hole because he was just following where I guess the play was supposed to go. But there was a very easy one cut up the field, and it was wide open. And, of course, put that on video on Twitter. I'm like, man, this looks like, of course, then you got all the, well, you don't know ball. The play's over here. I'm like, yeah, and I guess every single time Travis Kelce is running the play where it's supposed to go.
No, he has no
every
idea.
Once
Even
in a while,
Kelce doesn't know.
Every once in a while, you can run to daylight. Well, the play is over here, and I'm running there. There's literally nobody in front of me. But I'm going to run over here where I get tackled for a loss of a yard.
Okay, I'm just saying.
No, that's what he was supposed to do. Well, then you don't have to give it to Kadarius Toney, because isn't the point of giving it to Kadarius Toney is that he's electric and he'll find space, not just run the ball where it's supposed to go? Well, then give it to LaMichael Pirine if all you want him to do is run to the hole it's supposed to go to. But give it to anybody. Doesn't matter.
I'm just saying. Last year wasn't great, him running the football. 11 carries, 31 yards. Not ideal.
Well, some of those were the end arounds.
Yes.
Okay.
But overall, in his career, 21 carries, 119 yards. That breaks down to 5.7. I'm not saying he's a damn bell cow, Jason. I'm saying
I know.
A couple of carries.
Right. And my point is they did that last year, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do it this year.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying is my point is really in agreement with you that I think they will find ways to do that this year for him because they clearly like what he brings to the table. They love the idea of how electric he is. And I want to see that idea realized one day. That would be really cool.
Is he Alberto Mondesi, basically?
Well, he's only 25. Once we get into that element of talking about Kadarius Toney's age of, well, he's only 24. Well, he's only 25. Then he becomes
He's only
Adalberto.
32. He's only 32. Come on now, Jason.
Then he becomes Adalberto. But by the way, I didn't mean to tease it. We just got off on a different conversation there, different branch. So the 2 wide receivers that were the best in the NFL at their route at a specific route run, according to Pro Football Focus, one of those was Rashee Rice in the screen pass.
Can I guess here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Was it Justin Watson running a route?
It was Justin Watson.
Ooh, can I guess? Was it a 7 route? No. I don't know. I'm not going to act like I know routes.
It was a corner route. And as I thought about that, I'm like, how many times do we remember Justin Watson dragging his feet on the sideline, getting a long pass from Mahomes, running that corner and catching it, dragging his feet? Like, oh, man, what a great play by Justin Watson. Now, you had to have at least 10 targets, but that was
actually a 7 route is a corner.
7 routes a corner.
So so Dylan,
I just ran the 89. I ran the 89 in arrows. It was really all. I mean, my one catch was came on pro right 89 in arrows. So that's what I had. I mean, Brandon Shelby couldn't guard me, but whatever. I mean, all he did was play at Oklahoma. But if we're really keeping score, that's fine. But yeah, Justin Watson, and I'm like, Justin Watson. Well, yeah, there was that game where over on the sideline and a corner out, he makes the catch, and then Mahomes over the
Super Bowl, I think, even.
Yeah, Justin Watson's been pretty damn good at that route. Okay, so you got that weapon. So now you got Rashee Rice and Justin Watson running 7s and screens. Well, now you can implement Hollywood, Xavier, and Travis Kelce. That'd be great. And Kadarius Toney in the backfield.
I'm just saying.
Who's stopping that offense? Huh? Kadarius Toney is the answer. I will talk with Matt Lane coming up at noon. KC Sports Network, kcsn.substack.com. So, interesting with the Royals lineup today as they get set for the final game of a 4-game set against the Yankees. Trying not to get swept for the first time all year for the Royals. They do have their first 4-game losing streak that happened, that 4-game losing streak happened yesterday. But the lineup today, this isn't to say that he's the savior, okay, because I don't think that's the case. We're just talking about minimal, incremental improvements from where they were. But Drew Waters was called up. Drew Waters not in the lineup today. It's Blanco in left for MJ.
Yes.
And Velazquez in right for a recovering Hunter Renfroe, which they got good news last night, that it wasn't a fracture, that it's essentially just a bone bruise, but sort of the same as a bone bruise. It's not going to be as long as a recovery if it was broken. He doesn't have to have surgery or anything. So they got good news with that. But it's interesting now, it's back-to-back days that Drew Waters isn't in the lineup after being called up. And after getting called up, he was in the lineup that first day.
Sure.
It wasn't a, hey, take a breath, you're called up here, take it in a little bit more, you've been in the big leagues, and now we'll get you back out there. It's get in there, looked rough, didn't have good at bats. 3 of the 4 swings and misses that Marcus Stroman got were Drew Waters.
Sure.
And then he hasn't played since. And Nick Prado hasn't played except for throwing, some pitches the other night.
I mean, he was dealing.
He
he's got the arm
Maybe
rest.
he should have been the opener yesterday. Been great.
What I find interesting about Drew Waters being called up and playing immediately, he obviously looked like he was pressing. He was trying hard to make an immediate impact and didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, I'm sitting here going, if he looks like he's pressing, you know what you shouldn't do? Immediately take him out of the lineup for 2 games, because that means the next time he's back in the lineup, what's he going to do? He's going to press again. Because he goes, if I don't make an immediate impact, I'm getting my ass either sent down or sent to the bench. I'm agreeing with you. Drew Waters, I'm not saying is a savior. Yeah. But if you want to have some sort of give this guy a little bit of a break just to see what he can do, give him some consistent at-bats, you do it. I'm sorry, I think we know what Blanco is. He's fine. He's a rotational guy. He's your 4th outfielder at best. He's fast, but a bad base runner. Nelson Velazquez, I think he's starting to slightly turn it around, but he's not good in the outfield, although I will say Drew Waters, I think, made a little mental error when he was there. But if you want to at least see what he has, if you want to give him a legit chance, you got to play Drew Waters at least 2 out of the 3 games. At least let him – you said him yesterday after the bad first game, okay. But now back-to-back, if he pressed already, what do you think he's going to do the next time he's in the lineup?
And I think the choice is essentially they want Velazquez in the lineup instead of Drew Waters, which I can't really disagree with.
Fine.
Or it would be they want Velazquez and then Fermin and then Waters if they had their choice.
When I get Fermin. I get Fermin.
So to get Fermin and Velazquez in the lineup and to make sure Salvi's still in the lineup, then Salvi's got a DH. Or Fermin has to DH. Because neither one of those guys are playing right field.
Fermin's catching today, Salvi's DHing.
So Salvi's DHing. Yeah. That means if Velazquez is in the lineup, he's going to be in right field. That means Drew Waters is not in the lineup. It means you're going to be lesser than in right field defensively, but you're hoping he'll drive in more than he lets in, i.e. Manny Ramirez, without Drew Waters in the game.
I'm assuming Waters can play left field. I know he's predominantly center and right.
Yeah, no, he can play left field.
Yeah.
So at the point of they wanted Blanco in the lineup over him as well.
Against a lefty, I will point that out. It is a lefty today.
Yeah,
So-
Nestor, but I mean it's also Drew
switch hitter
is a switch hitter, so it's not like you've got to deal with that lefty like an MJ Melendez or something. Like I understand why MJ's not in the lineup, but maybe he doesn't want to bring Waters up, immediately put him in the lineup. He struggles, and then the next time he plays, now you put him in left field instead of right field. All right, he'll be available to pinch hit off the bench. And we'll see what Blanco can do. Hopefully it doesn't matter. Hopefully the guys at the top do what they're supposed to do. Hampson's been swinging a nice bat. Isbell's been certainly looking better. I like making sure that Fermin's bat is in the lineup more consistently because he's adding to this team. And Salvi had all the walks and has looked better the last couple of nights. So we'll see what they do against Nestor Cortez. Try not to get swept. Try to win 2 of the next 4 games. That's it. Win 2 of the next 4. Win today, and then take 1 against the Dodgers. And you are 7-12 in the 19-game stretch against teams that are all in the playoffs. I'll take it. You move on. Schedule lightens up a little bit. We'll take a timeout, come back, wrap up this hour next.
All right, everyone. Again, Greenlight Dispensary is giving out deep discounts on some of their best products every Monday and Friday this June, and tomorrow is another June drop. So go online to Greenlight Dispensary and use their AI bud tender to help you select what you want and then place your order for the drive-thru or the grab-and-go window. And once you're there, you can talk to an in-person bud tender that can answer any of your questions. Mention the June drops you heard here on 810 and see what they have for Friday's drop. So remind yourself tomorrow to go check them out or check them out today at greenlightdispensary.com because they have a bunch of different options because not all cannabis is flower. They have oils, chocolates, gummies are my favorite, and even sodas. The possibilities are endless and they're always...
All right, we'll take a time out here, wrap up this hour, and we will talk with Matt Lane coming up at noon. Royals afternoon game, but we talk about the schedule that they've had to go through in these 19 games, 4 games left. This coming from Ian Kraft. Starting July 1st, so that's still a couple weeks away, the Royals will play 18 series, so that's 54 games, against teams that are currently at or under 500. And they will play 22 games against teams that are at or that are above 500. So 54 games compared to 22. 7 series against teams that are above 500. Minnesota twice, Cleveland twice, and then Philly, the Yankees, and the Braves. Other than that, sub 500 starting July 1st. Driver. Matt Lane joins us here in the zone. Matt, what's up, man? How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you guys?
I am doing just fine. I'm doing just fine. We are about to hit the dead period for the Chiefs. The next 5 weeks, there'll be no practices, no press conferences, no news, no nothing. And then it'll be go time till, mid-February once they get to training camp. So everybody just take your deep breath, get your rest in, because we're partying the rest of the night starting training camp.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, this is the last little drip we're about to get here, and then it's just ice cold here for a little while. And so it's been nice. It's been nice to get a few the pressers and get a couple rapid fire days of football content here before we are going completely in the dark for the next 30-some days.
I am trying not to take it for granted and lack appreciation for what's going on. I present that off at the beginning here at the front, because it can be easy in a time we're in right now, Matt, for how the Chiefs are playing and what they look like. But tonight they are getting their third ring in 5 years, and back-to-back rings. There's still an element of just being completely surreal on a day, 24-hour period where Tom Brady's going into the Patriots Hall of Fame, and we're talking about the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes and a few of this group getting their third ring, but 2 rings, 1 ring, the ring ceremony tonight. I am trying my hardest, Matt, not to let that slip by and just make it feel like it's just old hat and not appreciate it, because it's so fleeting. But it is incredibly surreal that this is a situation the Chiefs are in, that it's like, oh, yeah, the ring ceremony's tonight. That's cool. I forgot all about that being on Thursday, June 13th. Well, that's cool. We'll have somebody covering it and see what they have to say.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately, and I don't know if it's because, there's just so many of them over the past few seasons, or if it's the time of year or what it is, but it definitely is something that, hasn't been earmarked on the calendar. It's not been something I've, kind of been sitting here, thinking, oh, yeah, that's coming up or anything like that. But I think you're right. It's really good to make a mental note and really try to not treat it as such, not treat it like it is just this every year, every season. This is a normal thing to be done. No, this is a big deal. They're getting that third. The players there getting some of them are getting their third ring. A lot of guys are getting 2 of them that are coming back-to-back years. Just because they're on this historic run doesn't mean that we can't or shouldn't be acknowledging how big of a deal it is in the moment. But it definitely is one of those things that kind of seems like it's sliding under the radar, and I'm certainly at fault for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I mentioned it once today at the beginning of the show that we'll have Todd Lebo covering the red carpet to see what anybody may have to say. Last year it was, ring number 2, so that was cool, and it was the actual ring ceremony, because in 2020, they couldn't have that. They had the night out at Arrowhead that, you saw some things and raising the banner, they did it a little bit differently there. And last year was also the drama of, is Chris Jones going to be there? Is Clyde going to be there? He wasn't at the parade. We had all of that backdrop, and this is just your general. They're going to be there. They're celebrating. They're enjoying themselves, and that is awesome. But with the OTAs that are going on and wrapping up, yesterday we heard from, or 2 days ago, we heard from Travis Kelce, and he was talking about, wear and tear on the body. And he said, you know what, wear me out. I'm ready for it. I'm going to be in shape and ready to go for the season. But he was also asked, Matt, how long he's going to play. He's got 2 years left on this contract. Is he going to play after that? And he said, I want to play until the wheels fall off, and hopefully that's not anytime soon. As you look at Kelce entering the last 2 years of this contract, restructuring a contract to give him more money in these 2 years, do you think we're watching the last 2 years of Travis Kelce's career?
Yeah, I think we're heading that direction, and I know that a lot of people have been putting the end is right around the corner on him for a while now, and he keeps pushing back, and he has never at any point in time said that it's coming. But I just kind of start to look at the context clues, like you said. They did a restructure, but it really just became more money, not necessarily an extension for a longer period of time. His brother, I understand, is been in the league a little longer, but he just retired. He's got all of these things that are falling into place as soon as he's done retiring that are going to be good for his long-term, health, but then also wealth or whatever he wants to do going on. And obviously Travis Kelce would be in a similar situation when he was done. So it just seems like a lot of things are pointing towards it is probably going to be the end sometime in the near future. And I think that he phrased it really well. he wants to go until the wheels fall off, but what are the wheels falling off for Travis Kelce? Is that meaning that he want a Jason Witten the end of his career where he's kind of bouncing around a couple teams, he's maybe catching a few players? Yeah, he's good enough for a roster spot, but he's not the guy. He's not even a good starting or a starting caliber tight end. Feels like to me Travis Kelce, the type of person he is from everything we've heard about him on the field, in pressers, on his own podcast, he wants to be the best. His goal is to be the best. He gets frustrated when he's not being the best. And if we get to the point to where he doesn't feel like he's the best but still would be a productive player, just not the Travis Kelce we know, does he want to continue still being that guy that's never as good as he thinks he should be? That's why I kind of start to think that it might be that 2-year mark seems like a reasonable timeline to expect.
Yeah, if he's 35 next year, or this year, is playing his 35-year-old season, then 36-year-old seasons, he'd be 37 if he played one more year after the contract. And the question would be, would Travis Kelce be okay playing 55, 60% of the snaps for like 60 receptions, 650 or 700 yards and like 4 or 5 touchdowns? Is he okay with that to play another year and to be out there and not hang it up just yet and be 37 years old? Because we've seen guys that have hung on and stayed around and the numbers aren't there. We've also seen Tony Gonzalez play 17 years and in year 17, as a 37-year-old, have 83 receptions for 859 yards and 8 touchdowns and still decided to hang it up at that point. And it was, I'm done. He clearly had stuff left in the tank. His wheels did not fall off. But at that point for him, he felt like it had run its course, time to retire and move on, need to do other things in my life. He wanted the acting career and everything post-football and certainly want to be around, for your kids and be able to walk and play and do all of those things because we know, the history and what the longevity of football players are after they retire. But, certainly in ability to, use their body in daily functions, he was a guy that at 37 years old was still really productive. And I think Travis Kelce can be that too. It's just a matter of how much do they want to conserve this year and next year to get more out of year 3 as opposed to going all out this year and next year because there is no year 3.
Yeah, and that's a debate that we've kind of been having the past couple seasons was how long do you want to, or like what is the goal to prolong Travis Kelce's career rather than maximizing him every single regular season game, every single snap, every single drive. And that's kind of why I think there had been a push from a lot of Chiefs fans and stuff to get a more prominent tight end 2 or whatever it may be over the past couple seasons in an effort not to replace Kelce, but to give him more time off so that you can prolong his career so he doesn't feel like he's having to carry the burden of a lot of this passing attack through, all the way up until the end, and then you can get a few more seasons out of him. I just think it goes back to, I wonder if he wants that, though. Even looking at, Tony Gonzalez was exceptionally productive for the end of his career through the Falcon seasons, but he clearly wasn't the same guy. He couldn't do the same stuff that he did during his prime in Kansas City. I just wonder with all of Travis Kelce's injuries and off-season surgeries piling up and how hard he is on himself, if he would even be on board with that. Is he on board with reducing his snap count, not being as effective week in and week out to play an extra 3-4 seasons, or does he just want to go 100% until he can't anymore? And I'm starting to lean towards the latter, just the way that he kind of talks about where his career is going.
Yeah, and if you look at the snap counts, like going back to 2018, when he reached his career high 95% of the snap counts that he was in the game for. Since then, 93%, 86%, 82%, 80%, 77%. It's clearly been a steady decline, and, for different reasons. I mean, he's missed, a couple of games in there. He missed 2 games last year, and missed a game in 2020, and that was because everybody sat at the end of the season. That's right. So, he's missed a couple of games along the way, but that's still telling the story, right, Matt, about what they're looking to do and to, pull back a little bit on that usage. What would you look at as like a usage rate for him this year? Is it, 70%, 75%? Start to get Gray and Wiley more involved if need be. You'd like him to stay around that 80% and just take your chances that there's only 2 years left instead of trying to conserve and hope for a year 3. How would you approach it if you're the Chiefs in what you may get out of Travis Kelce these next 2 years?
Yeah, I think you got to start the season letting him do the normal thing, get trending up towards that 80%, and as long as it's going well and he's feeling well, you can probably keep going. Like, this is a conversation they've had, right? Like Andy Reid, Brett Veach, whoever sat down with him and talked, like, hey, what realistically is your timeline looking at? What is this looking like for you? And if we're assuming these 2 years and the goal is not to prolong this for another 5 seasons, I think you just let him go at his normal usage rate until you start to see some signs in the regular season of him being tired, of him being banged up, and then you got to pull it back. Because more importantly than playing good or playing a lot during the regular season, you need Travis Kelce ready for the playoffs. Last year in the regular season, I know the late start to the year because of the knee injury, but you could tell during the regular season he wasn't quite moving the same, and he looked like he was just a little banged up. Playoffs come, he flips the switch, but you want to make sure that switch is always available to be flipped. So if that means the latter half of the year, we cycle back from 80% of the snaps to 70 to 65, just so when the playoffs hit, you're ready to go, then yeah, that's what you got to do. But I think at this point, you're just kind of looking at it for how to maximize him for 2 years, but more specifically, how you maximize him in the playoffs over the next 2 years rather than the whole season.
Absolutely. And we know one thing I'd be pretty certain that he does not want to become is, and nothing against this guy because he was, a fantastic player, and, an 8-time Pro Bowl, 3-time, all-pro player, Antonio Gates. In year 15 and 16 for Antonio Gates as a 37 and 38-year-old, he had 30 receptions for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, and then 28 receptions, 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I don't think that's where Travis Kelce wants to be, of just sort of hanging on and playing in every game, but not being a starter and having 28 catches for 300 yards and a couple of touchdowns. At that point, he'll go off and be in Hollywood and do some of those things before he, is on a Chiefs team that he has 25 receptions and plays in 16 games.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Like, and nothing against him. It's not like a lack of being a team player or anything like that. It's just I think he's too hard on himself. I think he'd go out there and be like, oh, I wasn't good enough to play these extra snaps. I wasn't good enough on these extra plays, and I let my team down. I think he would just beat himself up if that was kind of the way his seasons were trending. So I just don't know if I expect him to fight through something like the end of a Witten or an end of a Gates career where you're a useful player, just no longer close to what you once were. And again, I don't think we can overlook the toll on his body. I think it was even last offseason during one of his New Heights podcasts, he said he had like 13 offseason surgeries since entering the NFL. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot of surgery for a guy playing in the NFL that takes a lot of hits at the tight end position. At some point, you just kind of got to respect the body and go ahead and do what's best for it long term rather than just, what you want to do in the moment. So I don't see him holding on for longer than his body is physically able of performing like some of these other guys. Yeah,
13 surgeries, and he's going into year 12. And his body's only getting older. Those just trying to keep him healthy as much as possible. Do you think that, he had glowing remarks about Jared Wiley. I don't think there would be the contrary to Jared Wiley if asked about, hey, Travis, what do you think of Jared Wiley? Man, he sucks. He's just, I don't know why they drafted the guy. But Andy Reid also talked about sort of like his ability to understand where he's supposed to be and go and be there and understanding the offense, et cetera. Is he a guy that, can be somebody that can step up and be productive this year and be a third option tight end that can exceed what, typically third tight ends would be? If Noah Gray is simply who Noah Gray has been, is Jared Wiley a guy that can maybe this year or even in a couple of years or next year be a step ahead of what Noah Gray is and move into that tight end 2 and maybe become a tight end 1 if Kelce isn't around anymore?
I think Jared Wiley's it's a wildly fascinating player or prospect. He's a young guy. Everyone's gonna say nice things about him. That doesn't mean they're not true, but they're also teammates, coaches talking up a guy that's very young that just got to the team. So they're always going to say nice things. So when you look at Wiley, I think you see a guy that has the physical skill set, and then you combine that with some of the mental stuff you've heard from players, teammates, even going back to TCU, that you can see a path for him being a high-end number 2 tight end or even potentially becoming a starter if he really clicks into the NFL game. That certainly is in the possibility for him, and I would say that upside is even higher than what we ever saw with Noah Gray. Noah Gray's kind of always been more of a hybrid fullback, H-back, tight end type that you probably have to squint pretty hard to see as a full-time starting tight end, whereas I think Wiley's ability as a route runner, especially vertically, gives him that ability to become a starter in the future if things go right. So that's the good. I don't want to say bad, but the more developmental aspect is I really do think he needs some work getting used to the physicality of playing tight end. Went from quarterback and wide receiver to tight end, but then we're playing at TCU in the Big 12 where we are running the most air raid systems, right? So he's not used to dealing with a ton of physicality. And you can find reps in college where even college corners are getting the best of him in that regard. So I think at the NFL might be a little bit of a welcome to the NFL, welcome to the big leagues moment for him just in terms of the physicality. But once he gets that down, I really do think that you have a lot of upside for him as a backup or a second tight end that plays a significant role, develops into a starter going forward. I just don't know what you're going to get as a rookie. I like the athleticism. I just don't know how much that's going to translate early on if he's not ready for that level of physicality.
Matt Lane is our guest from KC Sports Network, the KC Laboratory Podcast. And each time we have the folks on from the KC Sports Network and KC Laboratory Podcast is brought to you by the Kansas Department of Transportation. Sports Radio 810, proud to partner with the Kansas Drive to Zero Coalition and encourage you to join Kansas fans with a plan. Always have a designated driver or other sober ride to and from your destination. The Chiefs talked about today. Patrick Mahomes joked that when he checked down, Andy Reid sort of sarcastically was like, "Oh, you're going to check that down? Oh, okay, yeah, you're going to throw it. All right, you're going to throw it over there to the easy one. Okay." And Andy Reid was asked about that, and he was like, "Well, you can check it down every play. If the defense is playing deep, well, then yeah, throw it to the open receiver. That's fine, but that's not what we're here to try to do. We're trying to get better." It's been a couple of times now. Patrick Mahomes has said there's been a challenge from the coaches to throw the ball deep. Now, Matt, it's one thing for the coaches to go, well, yeah, that's because we're trying to, get better. This is what this is for. We want to have them attempt the tougher passes through the tighter windows. But if that's the case, wouldn't they have wanted that last year? And wouldn't Mahomes have been doing that last year as opposed to this year? He is saying specifically they are challenging him to throw the ball more deep. I look at more at like that. I think Andy Reid's going to go, well, yeah, it's just, something we're going to do. We want him to try to make those throws. You get better. Where Patrick Mahomes is saying there's something different about this offseason OTA practices than there was last year, where there's clearly a more concerted, you need to throw it deep there. Don't take the check down. Hey, push the ball down the field. Hey, challenge the defense on this one. Let's see what you have in these particular players. And I find that to be really interesting and exciting because of obviously there's the intention of bringing the guys in, but then the intention of using those guys in their skill set and wanting to try to develop that early on right now before they even get to St. Joe.
I think it's definitely a concentrated effort to not only get better personnel to throw the ball downfield, but to also practice it. Because I think if you look through the evolution of the Chiefs offense under Mahomes, it started out launching the ball downfield nonstop, and it led to a lot of success. And then teams kind of started to play safer and safer. The Chiefs continued to try to push the envelope until it eventually kind of broke. And that, when we're thinking back to that Bengals AFC Championship game that they lost in the second half, and they knew they had to reinvent themselves. They're like, okay, we can no longer just challenge teams vertically over and over again. They're kind of putting a cap on that. What's next? And then, though they had a ton of success, they exchanged some personnel out, but they bring in some better short yardage, intermediate, underneath players, and now all of a sudden those guys come in, and they are able to rip through and they go back to another Super Bowl. And I think the thought process was for the team as a whole to run that back again a second time this past season, but teams quickly adjusted. Now all of a sudden teams are leaving deep stuff a little bit more open and playing a lot more single high. We're watching the Ravens send Kyle Hamilton on blitzes or play in the box versus playing two deep safeties because they're not afraid of MVS or McCole Hardman, and no disrespect to those guys, but they weren't hurting teams vertically or down the field or anything. So I think there's been intention on bringing guys in that can execute on the vertical passing game, but they also want to get that back in their arsenal so they aren't as predictable as they were last season, which I do think led to some of the difficult aspects of their passing game and their offense overall.
Any concerns about Xavier Worthy not participating since the rookie minicamp, that it's now 4 weeks of him not out there? Andy Reid was asked about it, and he said if he's going to be ready for training camp, and he said he should be able to go. He's getting treatment, getting better. We'll see how it goes. Is there a concern level for you in Xavier Worthy a month now sitting out without participating?
I mean, a little little bit. I find it a little hard to believe. I know some people aren't that concerned with it, and they think it's all entirely precautionary. But like, I'm sitting here looking at a rookie that hasn't played yet in the NFL, that's going to be learning a new system, that's got to be learning an entire new, element to his play of his game, right? He's going to a new team, going into a higher level of competition. And yeah, he's in the meetings learning the playbook, but he's not even getting out there with these other guys. And so I do have a little bit of worry that this is lingering on so long. It's a soft tissue injury. I don't think there's going to be any relation to that and his size, which I know some people are going to immediately make that connection. But he is a very fast twitch, very tightly wound player. That's how explosive and fast he is. There are guys that just sometimes suffer from soft tissue injuries like hamstring injuries their entire career. And hopefully that's not going to be Xavier Worthy. And hopefully this is a one-off thing that ends up being no big deal. But it has definitely dampened, I guess, my expectations to see from him from week one on. If Rashee Rice is to miss some time, I am now wondering if Worthy is going to be a guy that is going to necessarily be ready to step in on day one to be able to come in and make up for the lack of Rashee Rice based on the fact that we don't know how much practice he's getting. Now, if he comes back to training camp, full participant the whole way through, maybe this is an irrelevant point. But the rate we're going right now, I just wonder if he's not going to be kind of unleashed until later on in the season, assuming he gets healthy by then, given the lack of familiarity with the new players and new teammates and system and everything.
Yeah, I think we got two different rookies last year that we can look at from different perspectives. The Rashee Rice, as we say, that it took a while, and later on in the season it was like, all right, this is your go-to guy. It's Rice and Kelsey, and then everybody else, and he's going to have to play more. And he was. The playing time increased throughout the season, and that's just simply the wide receiver getting used to it. The other rookie I think we can look at is Felix Enudike-Uzomah, who last year we were talking about, he had that hand injury and it really set him back because even through OTAs and, not having, not being able to fully utilize your hand, and as a defensive lineman, that's a big deal. We saw what it looked like with him and Tamba Hali, going through the jiu-jitsu and how much hand fighting there was going on. And even the coaches and others have said, well, he was sort of behind the eight ball because he wasn't participating in OTAs and minicamp. Well, that's what's going on with Xavier Worthy right now. And Xavier Worthy isn't just a, pass rusher that could be a specialist. Xavier Worthy is supposed to be a wide receiver in this Chiefs offense. So that's my concern is a year ago, we were talking about that with a first-round draft pick who was injured and was missing OTAs and minicamp. And we used that as sort of an excuse as to why he was behind all year. I find it hard to say that and have that sort of information, and then this is no big deal while Xavier Worthy hasn't run routes for this Chiefs team since late April.
Yeah, I know. I'm fully with you there. It's not. I don't want to say concerning, but at least I think it should make you adjust your expectations or your hopes, at least for early on in the season. Now, I will say, I think Worthy is listening to everything Steve Sarkisian said about him coming out of Texas. Very smart, very intelligent guy, picks up stuff really, really well. And the fact that I do think he's a little bit further along in the physical development of a wide receiver than where Felix Enudike-Uzomah was for the developmental, timeline of a defensive end. So I could see him, even still missing the same amount of time, maybe coming along a little bit quicker. But still, if we're talking week one, if we're talking the beginning of the season, it's hard to see right now a path for him to have a significant role or even just be overly effective or get a high usage rate regardless of the Rashee Rice situation, just because the lack of the lack of reps that he's getting with these guys. Now, like I said, we still have training camp coming up. You can make up a lot of time there, but not all of it. You're still going to have missed all of these OTAs in the beginning here of this mandatory minicamp. So hopefully it turns over quick for him and it's not a big deal, but I have had to start to adjust my expectations of him at least early on in this season because of his inability to stay on the field for them during the whole summer.
It's a great point on the development of whether it's physical or mental and just experience at the different specific positions individually. Rashee Rice or Xavier Worthy to wide receiver and FAU to defensive end. Matt Lane is our guest, KC Sports Network. Last one for you, Matt. I know you wrote about this a couple of weeks ago, but it's been something that recently is the first time we've sort of been discussing it on the show and going through some options, but it's right now Pacheco and Clyde, and after that, there could be like 10 different players. Who knows? Could be a guy that's on a team right now that might be the Chiefs' third running back. How do you assess and sort of size up what this Chiefs team looks like after Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and what they may do when it's go time against the Ravens right out of the gates?
Yeah, it's another touchy spot here because we don't know. I don't think anybody knows for certain what Jerick McKinnon's plans are this season. Is he planning on just signing for the team deep into training camp and coming back, and then he's going to be here, and then now you're just essentially having the same running back room as last year? And, well, I would say from top to bottom, that room wasn't great. It was clearly good enough, and you have all of your holes covered, so you'd feel okay. But if McKinnon's not coming back, not only are you short on running backs that have played for this team, but you're short on a very important, very vital skill set for that position. You're missing a pass protector because Isaiah Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire's been getting better, but still isn't good. Neither have been overly productive or good as pass protectors. Neither have shown the same level of receiving ability as McKinnon. And then you start to poke around through some of the other options, and Deontay Ingram's had flashes going back to college or even in preseason with the Cardinals as a receiver, and Carson Steele's a big-bodied back that maybe can provide some pass protection, but you don't have anybody that you feel great about stepping into that third-down running back role, one-to-one, and even still, you're already asking a ton more out of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who they have been slowly reducing the overall amount of snaps and importance he plays for this team. So it's a position that's very up in the air until we get a finality to McKinnon's status in terms of coming back, retiring, whatever it may be. I think they might be in a little bit of a wait-and-see approach, and maybe somebody gets cut that really appeals to them. Maybe they just let that third running back spot be an entire competition because McKinnon isn't coming back. But I'm a little worried about how that third down running back spot is going to play out if McKinnon doesn't come back, because I don't see somebody that is a obvious insert into that spot.
Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, the KC Laboratory Podcast. Matt, as always, appreciate the time, brother. We will catch up soon, man.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy the summer.
Absolutely. You do the same, man. There's Matt Lane, kcsn.substack.com. Go check that out. He wrote about that third running back position, and, yeah, we'll find out. It's funny, like this is the position the Chiefs are in, is that, we're lamenting over who is going to be the freaking third running back for this team. Now, yes, we're also wondering who's going to be the freaking left tackle for this team, but, there are –
Carson Steele.
Yes, it might
My
be.
guy.
Keontae Ingram, Carson Steele, Lewis.
Whenever you have a pet alligator and you're given Anthony Sherman's 42.
And you got the hair.
I think you got a good shot.
Yeah. Those are all redeeming qualities.
Great lettuce.
Yeah.
Great lettuce. Great name. Carson Steele.
Great pet to have, an alligator.
What do you do with a pet alligator? Like, do you can't pet it?
You pet it.
What do you
cuddle
do?
it.
How big is it? How big's the pet alligator?
I have no idea.
It's kind of like road trip. You just live for the feeding.
Yeah. Why don't you go out to Chiefs practice and ask Carson Steele how big his alligator is?
Hey Carson, how big's your gator?
Hey Carson, how big's that alligator you're working with? What? No, your pet. How big's that pet gator you got?
Still sounds vaguely questionable.
Oh, it was marked.
Thank you.
Anytime we have the boys on from KC Laboratory Podcast, brought to you by the Kansas Department of Transportation. Together, fans with a plan are helping prevent crashes and serious injuries caused by impaired driving. Do your part. Use Safe Ride. Schedule your trip on your favorite rideshare app or designate a sober driver. We'll take a time out. We'll come back on the other side. We'll talk about a new series that's going to drop on July 10th. So less than a month from now, and who is in, what sports figures are in this new series. And we'll talk about the NBA Finals over and what took place last night. Sports or Leisure, 1 o'clock. More Zone next. Thursday edition of The Zone coming up at 1 o'clock. We will play some sports or leisure. It's a new series coming out July 10th. July 10th. Last year, the series was released while it was in Tahoe as well. And we'll be in Tahoe July 8th through the 11th. This will be dropped on Netflix July 10th, called Receiver. Not quarterback. Receiver. They released the trailer to that today. It's about 2.5 minutes long is the trailer to the Netflix show Receiver. There are 5 receivers that are profiled in this series. 5 of them. 4 receivers, 1 tight end. 4 receivers, 1 tight end. And the tight end, as ranked by Pro Football Focus as the number 1 tight end heading into the 2024 season, obviously that is George Kittle. It is. That was a joke from a month ago when those rankings came out. But George Kittle's the tight end. But the wide receivers, have you seen this list, Sterling?
I have not.
Awesome. So you'll like it, certainly. I think you'll definitely like one of them. You'll be a big fan. So the 4 wide receivers, Justin Jefferson.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I was going to get there. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I thought I was allowed to guess. I'm not allowed to guess anymore?
No, you can guess. There's 2 others.
I thought this was America.
Yeah, there's 2 others. There's Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then 2 other receivers.
I don't think Jamar Chase would do this.
Nope, he's not in it.
I didn't think he would do this.
He's not in it.
2 more receivers. Are they elite receivers or are they good receivers?
One is one of the more elite all-around playmakers, and another one is still playing at an incredibly high level, but was elite.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Close.
Mike Evans.
You're right around it, but it does start with a D, and it's in the division as well for the Chiefs.
In the division. Oh, Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams.
Okay. And then you said the other one is Tyreek Hill?
All-around guy, like all-around playmaker.
Okay.
You know, what the Chiefs wanted Kadarius Toney to be.
Well, they wanted Kadarius Toney.
Or what Malachi Corley is supposed to be in the NFL is he's a poor man's version of
Deebo Samuel.
Deebo. Nice job.
Thank you.
Justin Jefferson, Deebo Samuel, Devontae Adams, Amon-Ra, and George Kittle are the 5 players profiled in the TV show Receiver.
Does George Kittle's Super Bowl mic'd up make the cut?
There's a lot of mic'd up in the trailer. Have you seen the trailer yet?
No, I haven't.
There's a lot of mic'd up for George Kittle, and he is kind of a clown on the field. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Like he clearly is having fun playing football.
He wears the nose?
That's right. That's right.
Red
yes.
nose. Okay.
The red nose. That's all it is. But he clearly loves playing the game, and I think that comes through in some of the mic'd up stuff that we saw even in the Super Bowl when it was, "Hi George," you know. It didn't work out so well for him.
That one is tough.
That's a rough one for him to have to live with. But in this one, like, he gets hit below the belt, between the legs, on a play, and he's mic'd up, and he's like, "Oh," and he looks back, he goes, "That's not fair." It's funny, right? It's funny. Like, he's not pissed, he's not mad, it's just like football. "Oh, that's not fair." You know, how many guys would turn around and be like, "You son of a," you know, adrenaline running. Like, he seems like a fun dude to be around. I'm interested in this to see, like, who comes across really well. Did I become a fan of that person? Because I did not expect to become a fan of Kirk Cousins last year by watching quarterback. I watched it for Mahomes, and I stayed watching it outside of Mahomes for Kirk Cousins.
And I
wanted to fast forward through the Mariota stuff. I just wanted to get past it.
To that point is like who comes off as the opposite, where everyone was kind of like, "Wow, Marcus Mariota just had no reason to leave the team and left." He just looked bad,
and he had no reason to be on the quarterback series. But I get this is a little interesting to me because that quarterback series, the 3 players were perfect to me. You had a superstar, you had a guy who was just an NFL quarterback. There it is. He's going to get you to the playoffs. He will play at an estimable level.
Good word.
Almost every game, almost every year. And then you got a guy who was supposed to be really good, one of the top draft picks, and has bounced around and is not come near the expectations of what he could be. Okay, I liked that dynamic of it, those three levels of the players. These are all, top players in the NFL.
They did not do that.
Yeah, they didn't have like a journeyman receiver that is still like I'm trying to think of who that would be, like somebody, because the quarterbacks you can do that with because
Brandon Cooks, a good receiver, has been
Right.
everywhere.
But here's the thing, and this is why I understand why they went this route, is we talk about quarterbacks so much that a middle-of-the-pack journeyman quarterback, we would go, oh, yeah, I know, I'm aware. Oh, I know Marcus Mariota's history. Played at Oregon, got drafted to the Titans. He was with the Falcons and, Raiders. Oh, yeah, no, I know his story because we've talked about him so much because he's a quarterback. Where Brandon Cooks, yeah, he was with New England and
the
Rams, and he was he a Texan?
He was a Saint.
And a Saint, it wouldn't have the popularity,
sure,
and people already having an understanding and sort of a background of what this player.
You don't think
was.
Andy Isabella's moving the needle?
I would love that.
Yeah.
Let's get some Andy and Isabella.
Yeah.
You know what? I'd love 5 Lance Longs for them to portray.
Dexter McCluster, your time to shine.
He broke a damn cleat. Okay, that's how fast and quick he was and how sudden his stops and cuts were. He broke a cleat. You know what I've never done? I've never broken a cleat before by just stopping and cutting. He's the Zion of wide receivers.
Ooh.
Ooh. Only 2 guys I know that busted through their shoe by planting and trying to go the other way. So
I've busted through some basketball shoes, but that was more.
Badass.
No. It was more or less, I think, the
didn't-
shoe. Was
You didn't tie them and they just fell off?
No,
the explosiveness.
The heel. The heel fell off twice. They were Nike Hyper Dunks, favorite shoes in the world. They don't make them anymore. Now they're collectibles.
They're
basically.
clearly durable too, right?
Well, I had them for a long time.
Okay, I was going to say,
but
like,
the same thing happened where I went up to jump and the bottom just stayed, and then I'm like, this kind of hurts because now my foot is just not landing on cushion.
you don't know what it's like to go without until you've walked around and played in shoes that talk to you while you walk. And you're walking and that sole is falling off while you're walking. Oh, yeah.
That was a riddle.
Put a little tape on that, keep that thing going. All good. All good. Shoes still work, right? They're protecting your feet. All right, go get them. Go have some fun.
If I'm doing devil's advocate, though, with the selection, I do think your point is valid that maybe we wouldn't know some receivers. I still think you could have done a little variation as far as, tenure, where maybe if you could get either Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison Jr. to say yes before the draft. And then also Tank Dell, do a receiver that's coming back.
That would be through college then.
You're right.
So he'd be covering that through college. So then he'd have to have the university say okay to it too.
Traylon Burks then. Traylon Burks would have worked.
It's an interesting one.
But Tank Dell, he was a rookie last year, injured. He's going to be rehabbing as well a little bit during that. Just kind of to show the different stages, not just, hey, here's a number 1 receiver and a big contract.
Yeah. I mean, it is interesting because you had 4 wide receivers taken in the first round last year. Any of the 4, you could have been like, all right, here's a rookie getting acclimated to the NFL. This is what it's like to be a rookie receiver. Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, JSN. Quentin Johnston would be fun to see, him try to figure out running routes at the NFL.
Go routes.
Sky Moore would have been great. Sky Moore, I don't really know what I'm doing.
No, I think it would be great to see Quentin Johnston jump up and catch the ball at his waist. To jump up and catch the ball at his chest. With his chest, be a chest catcher.
It's funny for how big he is.
You watched it.
Dude.
He's going to come out and have 300 yards against the Chiefs in the first game they play because I just continue to hate on that guy. He didn't do anything to me. I mean, he seems like a fine dude. He was a great college player, fantastic college player because he was a man amongst boys with his size and speed and everything and his height. But in the NFL, you're going to have to run some routes. You're going to have to find a way to get open. And you're going to have to catch the ball contested. And you can't simply catch it with your chest all the time. And your hands can't look like frying pans from time to time. And you being a, quote, jump ball receiver, you can't jump up and be a chest catcher, to me. That's just why I didn't want him on the Chiefs. And perfectly fine with Rashee Rice. But, man, I was in love with Zay Flowers. I wanted me some Zay Flowers on the Chiefs last year. But I appreciate him being on the Ravens and fumbling into the end zone. So he kind of was on the Chiefs last year. He did. You know what? He helped. If you would have told me the Chiefs, there's going to be a player in the first round that's selected that will help the Chiefs win in the AFC Championship game, a wide receiver, it's Zay Flowers. Bleep yes. Hell yeah, they got Zay Flowers. They must have traded up for him. Nope. He gave a little wink to me when he fumbled through the end zone. It's like, I got you. You showed that love. You're welcome, Zay. More Zone next. right, we got some sports or leisure coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. 913-381-0810 is the phone number. 913-381-0810. Sports or leisure presented by Johnny's Tavern. $25 will be given away to play a little sports or leisure. These guys will be figuring out whatever money they'll be giving to Mick Schaefer after yesterday's bets on betting that the Mavericks would win. And also, you gave points to Mick.
Yeah, that was stupid. I'm dumb. I'm done betting Mick.
Well, I mean, I told you that Luka was going to foul out with 4 minutes to go.
I didn't know.
I told you that
Kyrie needs help. Kyrie needs help right now.
I told you. I've tried to tell you. Luka's never committed a foul before. Just simply ask him. Told you that.
Who complains more, him or LeBron?
Oh, it's Luka. It's easily Luka. It's not even close. It's Luka.
You're into sports, but nothing wrong with a little leisure time. Why not both?
You're going to have a heart attack by the time you're 40 if you don't learn to relax.
It's time for sports or leisure on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
All right, Sports or Leisure, 913-381-0810. Let's give away $25 to Johnny's Tavern. Sports or Leisure, first in, first on, 913-381-0810. We had up until 2 o'clock. You know, it's been a couple of weeks since we've been able to play some Sports or Leisure. So excited to get back in the rhythm again, right? Get into the rhythm, play some sports, play some leisure. You've had these leisure questions.
Right.
You've had these leisure questions percolating for like a month, ready to go.
I always percolate.
I know. You're very good at it.
Perpetually percolating.
It's one of the reasons why we hired you. We needed some percolation.
I do feel like we need to do and remake that Miller Lite commercial that everyone is just complaining about. The one where it's like, it's
Tastes
both.
great.
It's both. So it's like sports and leisure. I'm like, leisure. And you're like, sports. And then we have
Sports or
Dylan
leisure.
just yell, it's both.
Yeah, and then people are like, well, why don't you call it and?
And I go, because
leisure.
you made the call before I joined the
You know
show.
what? And I said, none of your damn business. That's why. Mind your business. That's why.
I thought we decided that it's because you can choose which you start
Yeah,
with.
we decided.
Yeah.
You know, it's still none of
and,
your business.
boys. Still both.
That's right.
It's both.
It's both, man. 913-381-0810 to play some sports or leisure. Let's get into the categories here. Well, let's let you know how you play first, I guess. We need to remind people how to play. You get a sports question, you get a leisure question, you get them both right, you win. Either of them wrong, you lose. But it is the question will be available to call in and request. We give out the answers when the questions have been answered correctly, or we have simply run out of time to play.
Yeah.
We don't give out the answers during and after each question. If you get it wrong, we don't give out the answer at that point. People can call in and request. We want to give away some food, some $25 or drinks, $25 to Johnny's Tavern that we give away. So that's how you play. You get a sports question, you get a leisure question. You got to get them both right to win the prize.
But if you lose, at least it's all about the friendships you made along the way.
Takes a village. Takes a village to raise a child, and it takes all of us to be able to win sports or leisure. So if you get one wrong, you help out somebody along the way. That's what we're here for. We're all a family around here. I think so. Right? Listeners, us, we're all a family. You know, just define family. I mean, it doesn't have to be blood, right? It can be, whatever. It doesn't have to be a union.
That's why I took a
by
blood
law.
test.
That's right. That's exactly right. I wanted to see if you were family because we didn't want to.
Just in case something
hire.
happened in the show.
Yeah.
He wanted to make sure that I was, I worked.
We wanted to expand the reach. Here are the categories today. 2 categories for me. One of them, Royals. Just Royals questions. And then the other category is how the West was won. These are questions about players that have West in their name.
Adam.
Good guess, but no. For instance, Jerry West would be an answer.
There we go.
If this was leisure, Kanye West.
Or Adam West would have worked, too.
Or Adam West would have worked as well. So in honor of Jerry West, we have the category of how the West was won. And these are questions about athletes that have West in their name. What about leisure, Sterling?
We have one-hit wonders. I will name
Okay.
the song. You name the band.
All right.
One-hit wonders.
That's easy enough.
We have riddles. Riddles. I'll be the Riddler, I guess.
I like it, yeah.
And then we also have the one I enjoy, potpourri, otherwise known as potpourri.
Yeah, either one. And that is just a collection of different questions that you never really know what question you're going to get. You don't know what category, what topic, whatever it is. It's just take your chances.
It's a mixed bag. Yeah.
Hey, sometimes you get pitched to. Slumdog Millionaire.
I got one for Avery. I got one.
Oh.
I'm waiting for him.
Oh, are you?
He's a smart man.
Well, that's what I've heard. 913-381-0810. First in, first on. Load them up. Let's go play. We bring in Avery to start off the show on Sports or Leisure. So, Avery, he is already challenging you right out of the gate. So, Sports or Leisure, what side do you want to start with?
I'll do that West category.
All right, West for you. This Basketball Hall of Famer is a guy who was selected 10th overall. He won an NBA title with the Celtics, but is most known for his time with the Suns. Was a major part of 2 of the 3 times the Suns franchise played in the NBA Finals?
Oh man, because I was thinking it was like maybe like David West from Xavier, but that doesn't sound like, I don't remember him playing for the Suns.
No, because he would be this person is most remembered.
Oh, 2 to 3 times. Okay, so like you'd be a teammate with Steve Nash.
Could be a teammate. Could be somebody else involved in the team in other ways. You know, Jerry West won championships as a player and as a GM, executive, etc. So this person won a championship with the Celtics, but was involved in 2 of the 3 times the Suns made the NBA Finals. Now, those are separated by like 20 years apiece. There's the last hint for you.
Oh,
Avery.
Nash never made the finals. No, but
Last hint for you, Avery. And by the way, Sterling's going to be very disappointed because Sterling wants you to get this right so he can then challenge you.
Yeah, I might have to still give you the question just
No,
because
no,
I don't
you
know if
can't
anyone
get-
else is going to get it.
No, you can't.
can I go over to his side and then maybe come back to like this question? I'll do that riddle for him.
No, you're not doing riddles,
Oh,
Avery.
see? That's the thing.
Oh,
So now
my
you
God,
can't.
One,
So now,
one,
now you can't.
I was gonna pick what do you call it? One hit wonders. Is that?
Nope, he wanted you to go potpourri. So
I got a pop pour.
Yeah, so
Avery,
you know.
always
Can't do
kick
it.
our ass,
Can't do it.
Avery. I
Can't
got to
do it.
give you a hard
You
one.
can't do it. He's got to answer this
Yeah,
one first.
Well, no, let's get the potpourri question. Then we'll get to the.
He's got to answer this one first. Come on, Avery.
Was his last name West?
It has something to do with. I think West is probably a part of it.
Was like a Westwood? Westfall? Like the guy that what's his face played? Jason Segel played in is it Paul Westfall?
It's Paul Westfall. It is. It is Paul Westfall. He was a player.
He won a WNBA title with the Phoenix Mercury.
And he was the head coach of the Marley Barkley KJ Suns that lost to Jordan in '93. He was the head coach.
Yeah, and he
Paul
was
Westphal.
the Loyola Marymount with the Hank Gathers and Bo Kimball.
No.
Oh, is that West Head?
That was West Head.
Oh, well, I'm glad I said Westfall.
Yeah, I'm glad you said
Thinking of the
Westfall
other
too.
guy.
I would rather you have said West Head, but yeah, yes, Paul Westfall. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So,
okay.
so that makes sense as the Jason Segel now because that's Paul Westhead is who he was
West
playing.
Head. Okay. Yes, Westfall.
Well, it had West in the name. I'm not saying that I have to now eliminate a question that's also a part of this category or not. I'm not saying that at all. But anyway, go to leisure with Sterling.
All right, Avery. Since you always win, I got a fun one for you.
You no,
Okay, so I
it's
got
not that
a
he
poker
always.
here.
It's not that he always wins. You should have said he wins every time. It was right there for you, Sterling.
I butchered it.
right there for
He
you.
wins every time, so I'm giving him a hard one.
Good.
3 countries use the imperial system primarily instead of the metric system. Name
USA,
2.
Myanmar.
Okay, yeah. Well, what's Myanmar formerly known as?
Burma.
Gosh, he did know that.
I'm going to give Avery this question, and he's not
Okay,
going to get
what's
it.
the third one?
Yeah, I'm going to.
It's something crappy. I don't remember the third one.
Liberia. It's United States, Liberia,
yeah.
and Myanmar, formerly known as Burma. Yes, correct, Avery. Good job.
I've got something for Avery. I've been planning this one for 2 weeks. I can't wait till Avery comes back on.
It took
'cause
45 seconds to
I'm
plan,
gonna give
but
Avery
thought I had
a
him.
really difficult. You go ahead and give him this easy little sports question that he'll get. Wait till I really challenge him. Yeah.
He even knew that Myanmar was formerly known as Burma.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
he got it all.
I don't know. Delicious though.
Huh? Yeah, it is. Absolutely is. Avery will put you on hold and get your information since you got apparently Sterling's easiest question on the board. So thank you for playing, sir.
Super duper.
913-3-810-810.
How many people knew that? How many people knew the?
Well, I got it right. You asked me, and I named all 3 of the countries, right?
You named United States. I'll grant you that. You got
Boom.
1 out of 3.
Boom. Nailed it. And I only know that because I live there. So you just happen to be pitching to me.
Sure.
So I knew that because I could think back to my experience with the imperialist system. So let's go to Tim next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Tim, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Let's start with leisure.
All righty, we got potpourri, one-hit wonders, and riddles.
One-hit wonders, please.
All righty. We'll go with 8675309, otherwise known as Jenny. Don't lose that number. Who sang that song?
Tommy Two-Tone.
Bam!
Nice job. I guessed Timmy Trumpet, and I was wrong. I knew it was an alliteration with the T's, but I did not get it right. On to the sports side, Tim. What category? Royals or how the West was won?
Ooh, shoot. I'm torn. What would you recommend?
You know what?
They're all good. All the food's good here.
I think they're really good. Yeah, if I recommended one, it would make me feel like that I didn't like the other, and I don't want to do that. You know what? Whatever the most expensive one is, I'm going to upcharge you here. I recommend that. It's $4 more expensive.
Great response. Let's be a homer and do the Royals.
All right, Royals for you. All right, so earlier this year, Bobby Witt had a 2-home run, 6 RBI with a stolen base game. It's the third time in Royals history that a player has done that. At least 2 home runs, at least 6 RBIs, and at least a stolen base. Name either of the 2 Royals players that have done that, besides Bobby Witt.
Oh, boy. I can think of a handful of possibilities. Any hints like the general era?
Between World Series. Both happened between the World Series titles.
Okay.
That gives you a time frame with both
2
of them.
home runs, 6 ribbies, and a stolen base.
And a stolen base. Yep, that's right.
Gotta go with Bo.
You got to go to Johnny's. That's where you got to go. Bo Jackson is one of them. You want to?
I think I was at that game, actually.
Nice. Tim, you want to take a shot at who the other player was besides Bo Jackson?
George?
No, it was Carlos Beltran. So then you think about it, you're like, all right, Bobby Witt, Bo Jackson, Carlos Beltran.
I was going
like
Kevin Seitzer,
right,
maybe, or
the rare power speed combo that you see in Major League Baseball. But Bo, Carlos, and Bobby.
That's a good one.
Oh, it's the Bees. It's Bo, Beltran, and Bobby that have done that.
The Killer Bees, the real Killer Bees.
Yes, that's exactly right. You are heading to Johnny's Tavern, Tim. We'll put you on hold. Congratulations, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. 913-381-810 is the phone number.
Fun fact, I did have a Tommy Two-Tone shirt growing up.
Really?
Yeah.
I had a shirt that just told everybody about what Frankie was telling him to do. Relax.
Or Aaron Rodgers tells people to do.
It's actually from Friends.
So you're not actually.
Frankie says relax.
So you're just stealing jokes now. Okay.
Well, no, I'm just stealing the references. That's all my jokes are. Let's go to Jim next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jim, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
I'll go leisure. I'll try that one-hit wonder.
All right.
One-hit wonder. There
We'll
you
go with Come On Eileen. Come on, Eileen.
Oh, you cut out there for a second, Jim.
Dexy's Midnight Runners.
Nailed.
That was easy. That was easy. All you had to say was Eileen. Boom. Done. One-hit wonder. He knows them. On to the sports side, Jim. We've got Royals. We've got how the West was won. Those are questions about players, athletes that have West in their name at some point.
I'm going to try how the West was won.
All right, let's go with this one. People call Andy Reid a QB whisperer. I've argued he's more of a running back whisperer, finding players from all over and different backgrounds, getting production from them. This guy's a prime example of that. After Jamal went down, this man from Abilene Christian stepped up and gained almost 700 yards rushing.
Abilene Christian.
After Jamal went down, this guy stepped up from Abilene Christian and gained almost 700 yards rushing in his place.
He was a fan favorite.
Oh, yeah.
This guy.
Yep. And one of my examples of well, Andy Reid's he's a quarterback whisperer. I'm like, no, give Andy Reid a guy and he'll, find a way to make that guy a good running back. Give him Jamal or Kareem Well, now you got one of, if not the best running backs in the league.
Man,
What do you think?
the only running back that's coming to mind, but you drew me with the school, would be Westbrook.
Nope. Like I said, when Jamal went down.
So this is in Kansas City.
Yeah,
His Kansas
so
City tenure.
Jamal went down. This guy stepped up and gained almost 700 yards rushing in the final 12 games of the season.
Yeah, drawn a blank. I got nothing.
Ah. All right. Jim, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it, sir. 913-381-0810. He did get the one-hit wonder. But that question is out there for someone to call in and request if they know the answer to it. They can give us a call and answer that. Let's go to Matthew. Next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB, a little sports or leisure. Matthew, what side do you want to start with, man?
I will take that West one you just had.
Yes, who's the running back?
Sharkandrick West?
Sharkandrick West, that is correct. Sharkandrick West. He was a fun one, man. Just completely out of nowhere, and was really productive, filling in for Jamal Charles.
Great smile, too.
Yes.
Great smile.
Just seemed like a fun dude, all around. Spencer Ware, his last name isn't West, but Spencer Ware is in that category of like, wow, you found this guy, and he's putting Pacheco from Rutgers, 7th rounder.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. You're doing that. He's a running back whisperer. Anyway, go ahead.
So we got riddles, one-hit wonders, and potpourri.
I will go with one-hit wonders, please.
All right, one-hit wonders. We'll go with who let the dogs out? Who?
Who? That was...
Who sang?
Was it the Who?
Who let... Nah, surprisingly not. Who let the dogs out?
Because then they would have just been answering that.
They would have been answering the call.
They wouldn't have even been asking a question.
It's us, actually.
It was just a statement.
The who? Tommy.
Who let
Tommy.
Who let the dogs out? That's just a statement. It's not even a question anymore if it's sung by the Who.
Yeah, I think they're often confused with the Who, but I think it's Baha Men.
Yes,
that is absolutely right.
Often confused with the Who. It is the Baha Men.
I went to a concert that I thought was the Who, and it was the Baha Men, and I'm like, damn it! I always get them mixed up every time.
Because the Who let the dogs out, and it would just be called "Let the Dogs Out."
Right. That's what I thought it was, but it certainly was not. On to the no, he got Sharkandrick West, right?
Yeah, he nailed
that's
it.
Right. Nice job, Matthew. We'll put you on hold. Congratulations, sir. Well done.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. 913-381-0810 is the phone number. 913-381-0810. Couple of winners already here for Johnny's Tavern. $25 to Johnny's Tavern, premier sports bar in Kansas City.
Gosh, I really want Johnny's Pizza right now.
Well, why don't you pay?
Really want Johnny's Pizza. Can I call in?
No. No. Why don't you guys pay up your bet to Mick with Johnny's Pizza? Why don't you guys do that?
Do we have trade I can use?
Well, I think you're going to have to call in now.
All right, Jace. Can I have that Sharkandrick West question, please?
Hurling Stones. What's up, Hurling? What's up, man? Give me that.
I'm actually Guthrie Holmes. SG Holmes.
SG Holmes, okay.
SG Holmes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that your
middle name's
name's
Guthrie?
Okay,
So
very
it's
good.
either Sterling Guthrie or Guthrie Holmes, which sounds like I'm a country singer. I did
Guthrie
go
Holmes.
and see Chris Stapleton, Alan Stone, and Marcus King last night. So that was country.
Nice.
I wore my boots for that, and the Wranglers. You better believe the Wranglers got slipped on.
Wranglers on your booty, you and Lil Nas X. Let's go to David next up on Sports Radio 810, a little sports or leisure. Hey, David, what side do you want to start with, man? Sports side or the leisure side?
Okay, I missed it. Is the Sharkandrick West question gone?
Sharkandrick West is gone. That was answered right before you. Sorry about that, David. But we do have plenty of other of how the West was won. Questions about athletes with West in their name in honor of Jerry West. We also have some Royals questions.
Let's move over to this leisure side. Let's
All good.
Do, one-hit wonders.
All right, one-hit wonders. We'll go with who sang "My Own Worst Enemy"? My Own Worst Enemy. It was in the early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
Can we forget about
lit.
the things?
Lit.
Yes,
Lit.
it is lit. You nailed it.
Nice job, man. Well done.
It was 99, by the way. It was 1999.
Good for you choosing a category that you know the answers to. That's smart.
I tend to be smart.
That's good for you, man. Good for you. It's we like to bring that to the show on Thursdays during the 1 o'clock hour with the listeners. So that's nice that we have that.
Let's try the West one. I like that.
All right. How the West was won. Drafted out of UCLA, part of one of the early Big Threes before the Big Three became as prominent as it did, over the last 15 years or so. played 11 seasons for one franchise, including winning an MVP. But then he's played for 4 different franchises in the last 6 years. He has an all-around game, not just a big O. He and Ice Cube have somewhat of the same game when they mess around on the basketball court.
This is not just football, then.
Oh no, it's all different sports. Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
Part of the big 3, and these big 3 were drafted together. And I'm pretty sure that, well, I know they were all drafted together, but I'm looking up something else to see about the big 3. Yeah, all 3 of them have won a league MVP that were drafted
Westbrook
together.
is popping in my head. He don't think he's won league MVP, have he? Westbrook?
Hey, it's Russell Westbrook. Nice job. Russell Westbrook.
The
well,
triple-double year.
Well done. He's had 4 different triple-double years. Isn't that?
I have the Triple Crown now. I have the Triple Crown. I've won with all your co-hosts.
There it is. Wow.
Oh, wow.
There it is. David, well done. That's like a Hall of Famer, right? Winning the Triple Crown. You're the first one since Miguel Cabrera.
We should get his name, put somewhere in here, like a Hall of Honor type situation.
Well, and I've won with Curtis on.
Hold on. You've won with Curtis as your partner in the feud?
Yes.
Good God, dude.
Started,
Good God. You may be the greatest contestant ever.
Hang the banner.
I mean, that's an immediate Hall of Famer. Yeah, not only
I'm
not only are you the Triple Crown winner, I think you are also an all-pro quarterback. Like, you're just combining all of those things. It's got to be 2 different sports when you win the feud with Curtis.
Oh, Jason, I'm not built like a quarterback, brother. You know.
Well, it depends on
I'm built like more like Curtis. It's good.
You know what? I've seen him play some quarterback, I think, back in his day. I don't know. I haven't, but he probably had the ability. I don't know. Well done, man. That is awesome.
Guys. This is fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. David, well done. Congratulations, man.
All right, thanks, man.
Hang the banner.
I think we should actually. That would be pretty fun. Do a Hall of Honor
and
type situation up here in the studio.
But also not only winning the feud, but he might be one of the very few that has won the feud with Curtis as his partner. Yesterday that happened. I don't think it was David, though. But yesterday that happened. It's just really rare for that to happen. So there you go. Nice job. But yes, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and James Harden all won league MVPs in their career. And they were all drafted to the Oklahoma City or Supersonics. Supersonics for KD.
I thought it was going to be Rashard Lewis, Ray Allen, and Luke Ridnour.
You would think.
And Luke Ridnour.
Yeah, you would think that was the answer. And by the way, how about looking back and going, man, they just can't find a place for Harden. Like, you got to move on from James Harden, because how can you have Harden on your team with Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant? Like, you just how are you supposed to, Harden was coming off the bench as a 6th man when they went to the NBA Finals. Like, unbelievable. Well done. They scouted, drafted. Well done.
Serge Ibaka, too.
Serge. I liked that team. That was a fun team,
Kendrick
man.
Perkins.
Yeah. KP. That's right. Let's go to the phone line. Actually, you know what? I think we need to take a timeout. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back. Those on hold right now, we'll get you guys first in, first on the other side of the break. 913-3-810-810. More Zone right after this.
All right, I'm here again to let you know that tomorrow at 8 a.m., Greenlight Dispensary is doing another June drop this Friday, because they do June drops every week on Mondays and Fridays. Greenlight Dispensary is going to be doing another drop of a set of amazing products with massive discounts before the weekend. So set your alarms and reminders and pick from the amazingly vast menu with the help of their AI bud tenders on greenlightdispensary.com. Or you can go to one of their 4...
Tavern on the line. Premier sports bar in Kansas City, 10 locations, including Lawrence and Topeka. It is Johnny's Tavern. The categories for sports, we'll refresh those. It's Royals questions, and it's also how the West was won. Questions about players that have the word West in their name in honor of Jerry West, who passed away yesterday. What about on the leisure side? What are the categories there, Sterling?
I have riddles, which no one has picked. I have one-hit wonders, which has been getting ripped up.
Yeah.
And then I have potpourri.
Yeah, which you specifically
Potpourri.
gave to somebody because you thought it was going to be a tough question, and it was a layup.
And he nailed it.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. He probably watches Archer.
Yeah, why wouldn't he? 913-381-0810 is the phone number. 913-381-0810 to the phone lines we go. Let's bring in Andrew next up, waiting patiently to play some sports or leisure. Andrew, what side would you like to start with?
Let's go with the West was won.
All right. Let's see. That one's already been. I was just making sure. All right, here we go. A former top 5 pick in the NFL draft. He never quite lived up to the billing. He gained 1,000 yards. Former top 5 pick wide receiver in the NFL draft. So former top 5 wide receiver pick in the NFL draft. Never quite lived up to the billing. Gained 1,000 yards only one time in his career and finished with fewer than 5,000 yards receiving for his career. He is best known, though, for his time in Colorado being on the receiving end of the miracle at Michigan from Cordell Stewart.
Man.
I thought this guy was going to be awesome in the NFL. I didn't think that the connection there in Michigan with the Hail Mary, that the best player from that group was going to be the man who threw the football and slash, or what was Cordell Stewart?
Yeah. Got me a little bit before my time. I don't have a guess. I have no clue.
Sorry, you want to? I mean, it's got West in the name.
Leon West.
Close. It wasn't Leon West. But Andrew, thank you for playing, man.
Leon West is either.
I don't know. It's amazing, though. Thank you, Andrew. I like that he gets Leon West. Take a shot. I mean, what if it was
Gotta
Leon
take
West?
a shot.
What if he was thinking, I'm just going to throw a dart and say Leon West, and he doesn't say anything, and he hangs up, and the guy's like, oh, yeah, that's obvious. That's Leon West. You know, and like, what are the odds of that? Like the previous caller was like, I want to say Russell Westbrook. Like Westbrook is. See, if he hadn't said Russell Westbrook, then he would feel pretty dumb because Russell Westbrook was the answer to that previous one, not this one. Let's go to Charles next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Charles, sports or leisure? What side do you want to start with?
Let's do leisure. Let's do the what was the 40-something?
40
Am I
something.
wrong?
No, for leisure we have potpourri, one-hit wonders, and riddles.
Let's do potpourri.
All right, we'll do potpourri right here. All right. This drummer for Def Leppard, Rick Allen, only has one what?
Arm.
Nails. Do you know how it happened?
Car wreck, I think.
It was, yeah.
I was going to say drumstick, but sort of goes together.
It also is drumstick. If you just say one drumstick, well, he might use two, though. The old-fashioned marimba style.
He
with
does use two. The
Yeah.
foot pedal has the ability to use the other drumstick.
Yeah, it's true.
That's
Yeah.
badass, though. I mean, it is bad. Watching
Totally
him do that,
badass.
it's pretty awesome. Watching him to be able to in the middle of his, it's not like not that it's any tougher, but like, hey, if you were born without an arm and you just play drums, but like to be a drummer, lose it, and then completely learn everything. But it's unbelievable, man. All right, Charles, we go to the sports side. We got Royals. We have how the West was won.
Let's try. Let's do the Royals, I guess.
All right, Royals for you. Cole Reagans had 89 strikeouts through 13 starts this year. He was one strikeout away from becoming just the third Royals pitcher ever to have 90 or more strikeouts in their first 13 starts of the season. Name either of the other two to have 90 or more Ks through their first 13 starts to begin that season. Either of the Royals to do that. Correct and correct. Sterling. Sterling got both of them right.
Oh,
How
I got
about
both.
that?
That's child's
Look at
play.
you.
Come on, Jason.
How about that?
I know my Royals and
Oh, is that
strikeouts,
right?
baby.
Okay, clearly. Didn't realize.
Probably a while back, I'd imagine.
Not too far back. I would say in between the two World Series. Another era. Both of them happened between the two World Series.
15 starts. Take a shot in the dark, and let's go with Zach Greinke, maybe?
Zach Greinke is correct. That would be his Cy Young year when he started off with the 1 ERA and was striking everybody out.
Did he have like 113 or something like that?
It was ridiculous, yeah. Kevin Appier is the other one. Kevin Appier. So Greinke, Appier, and would have been Cole Reagans, but he did not. But Cole Reagan's still third most of the first 13 starts of the season.
Bronze, baby.
That's exactly right. You know what? That's podium. That's a podium for Cole Reagans. That's
you
what
can
that
get a
is.
name, actually. You can name your kid after that.
You could. Bronze.
Yeah.
If he's the third, or Trey. On to what he got.
He got my leisure.
That's right. Yeah, you got leisure. Nice job, Charles. We'll put you on hold. Congratulations, sir.
Super duper, go Royals.
There you go. Nice job. Zach Greinke, Kevin Appier, and Cole Reagans have done that. It's been pretty good. Pretty good. Let's go to Jeff next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jeff, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with, sir?
Well, you always trip me, so let's try you. And I got it, Carlos Beltran and Apier earlier.
Oh,
Let's
dang
go
it.
with the Royals.
Royals for you? Okay.
An easy one. I've never won.
Oh, an easy one. Okay. Seth Lugo this year was leading the AL in wins, ERA, and innings pitched at one point. Who was the last Royals pitcher to do that in an entire season? Lead the American League in wins, ERA, and innings pitched for an entire season. A whole season.
What era?
In between the two World Series. All of them, every one of these questions have apparently been that. Didn't do it on purpose.
I don't know if I'm right. But...
Well, I mean, maybe
I apparently missed it.
Yeah, he was wrong too.
What?
He won a Cy Young that year, which you would think with wins, ERA, and innings pitched that you led the entire
Zach
league.
Greinke.
That's not
It
his
was
real guess.
Not.
That was not his real guess. That was his.
Zach Greinke was the answer to the previous question.
Yeah, no, he thought it was the previous question. I'm giving you another chance, Jeff. That wasn't your real answer. That was just your first answer.
Yep. But this guy for the Royals won a Cy Young that year.
Oh, I know who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the Mets, he went to the Mets, correct, at one point?
He did.
Yeah, he did go to the Mets.
You are correct in that.
Honestly, I thought it was kind of BS he went to the Mets, you know?
I mean, you can make the case, but
Yeah, but so
it would have sucked. It would have
all
sucked if they didn't.
He got it. He nailed it.
He would have. Hold on. It would have sucked if it wasn't for the complete revamping of the organization in that trade, because getting back what they got back completely changed the trajectory of the organization moving forward, and it's why they won 4 more World Series is because of that trade. So that matters. Who do you think it is?
What's the match?
Yep, why don't you throw a dart?
I think you said the name.
Well, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. Let's see what he says. It ain't Percy Snow. I know that. Brett Saberhagen is correct. Nice job, Brett
I said
Saberhagen.
BS for the initials.
Yeah, that's right.
So I tried giving a little.
Wait a second.
What's up?
You said between the two.
World Series between 85 and 2015. Yes, that was in 89 that he did that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's why.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Right. You're thinking the 85. Well,
okay.
Technically, he would have won the Cy Young even in 85 after the Royals won the World Series.
fair.
Technically, he would have been awarded that after the year. But yeah, his 1989 Cy Young season is when he led the league in wins, ERA, and innings pitched.
Okay, well, I got lucky then because I
Hey, you know what? You got it right. On to leisure with Sterling.
All right, we got potpourri, one-hit wonders, and riddles.
potpourri.
Potpourri.
We'll make it easy for you, Jeff. What state produces the most bourbon?
That's not the state.
I know it's one of two. It's Kentucky or Tennessee. I believe.
Well, I think Chris Stapleton would sing about one of them, right? That's
but that's not.
But
that,
that's not. But that would be why.
Yeah.
The lyrics should give it away as to what the other one is, what the answer is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get because one's whiskey and one's
Exactly.
bourbon. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Exactly. Come on, Jim.
Is Jack Daniels whiskey or bourbon?
That's whiskey.
Oh, I think you know the answer to that one. Come on, Jeff. Don't try to fool us.
Is it one of the two I said?
You're gonna have to throw a dart, man. We're
We
gonna have to take a
give-
chance.
yeah.
We're gonna have to take a chance. We held your hand with Brett Saberhagen.
Tennessee.
Oh,
Tennessee, Jeff, is incorrect. You were so close. That's the closest you've ever come, Jeff.
Yeah.
But you've got
You're
you're
right there, Jeff.
Dude,
You're
I'm telling
right
you, right there.
You're right there.
It's gonna happen soon. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jeff. 913-3-810-810.
I love your Tennessee whiskey one. It's not
See?
because it's Tennessee whiskey or it's yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the other state. That should be a layup. John, next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. John, sports or leisure? What side do you want to start with?
I'll start with the layup. I'll do the Kentucky bourbon.
It sure enough is.
Nice job. It's not Tennessee whiskey. It is Kentucky bourbon.
And if it was
On to the
Jason
sports.
Boland, it'd be Tennessee whiskey and Texas weed.
That absolutely. That's what
Jason
I'm
Boland, not Anderson. Boland.
Yeah.
Side note here: do you guys realize that Chris Stapleton song is a cover?
David Allen Coe. Come on
There
now.
you go.
Oh, I know this bad boy. Come on now.
Sterling would know that. I would not know that. I would say that, wow, oh my God, David Allen Coe covered the Chris Stapleton song? That's cool of him to do. Crazy that he's able to do that, but still really cool. On to the sports side, sir. We got Royals. We got how the West was won.
I'll go Royals.
All right. Seth Lugo had 9 wins in his first 12 starts this year because he was a winning machine. Who was the most recent Royals pitcher to win at least 7 of his first 11 starts? Started off hot on a team that was hot. Oddly enough, this was also before the 2015 World Series and after the 85 World Series.
So, thinking out loud here, I've got a total left field answer that just popped in my head with your hint there. I'm thinking Paul Byrd. I think he did something crazy like that. and then-
I will tell you this. I'll tell you this. Don't do the answer yet, okay?
Okay.
You're right around there. You're right around there. That's the time.
Era?
Yeah, the timeline, the time frame, the era of Royals baseball.
Had
is
to be
right around
Marlon
there.
Bird then. Had to be Marlon.
It wasn't Marlon Bird either.
Not a bird.
It wasn't
Marty
Larry
Bird.
Bird.
Marty Bird.
No, it was not. Nope, none of that.
Marty.
Nope.
Man.
But it was a fun. I'll say through.
Jose Lima.
Believe it. It is Jose Lima. Lima time. 2003 Lima time. Believe it. Nice job, John. Well done. That was not a layup. The other one was a layup.
Yeah.
That was a tougher one. You got Jose Lima. Well done. We'll put you on hold, John. Congratulations.
Cool.
Very excited. He's pumped.
Cool.
He can't wait to get the $25.
Cool.
Let's one more. I think we got time for one more. It is Mike wrapping things up here on Sports or Leisure. Mike, what side? Sports or Leisure to start?
Sport.
All right, we got no more Royals. We just have how the West was won.
There we go.
All right, let's do that one then. Let's go. We have one out there already about a wide receiver, or we have a fresh one.
Go with the fresh one.
All right. I just like hearing myself in the background. It's like an echo.
Yeah, Mike, if you just turn the radio down.
Is the radio on? I mean, do we have the delay going? That's pretty quick. From. All right, so he's a regular Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Or maybe CEH was supposed to be this guy. He gained over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. And in another season, over 1,900 yards from scrimmage. He and Frank Bowl hang out in the same hall. It's like you're on the PA system, right? You know, it's kind of like that when you're on the PA system. You hear that in the sort of the background. You got to make sure that you're not tripping yourself up. Nope. One more guess. What do you say?
Priest Holmes?
Priest Holmes is incorrect. Mike, thank you for playing, man. I appreciate it.
One more time. What was the question?
Okay, so he's a regular Clyde Edwards-Helaire, or maybe actually Clyde Edwards-Helaire was supposed to be him. He gained over 2,000 yards from scrimmage in a season and over 1,900 yards in another. He and Frank Bowl hang out in the same hall. Now, it can't be Jamal or Priest Holmes because how the West was won, West is in the name.
Oh.
You can give the answer if you know it.
No, I thought Priest Holmes too, so.
No, it's Brian Westbrook.
Yeah.
He and Frank Bowl hang out in the same hall. They're both in the Villanova Hall of Fame. Anybody? Nobody? Whatever. Let's enough with you. We'll take a time out. More Zone next. All right, I only had one question that I did not get an answer to in Sports or Leisure, and that was the former top 5 pick in the NFL draft as a wide receiver that didn't quite live up to the billing. Only 1,000 yards receiving in a season one time in his career, less than 5,000 yards for his entire career, but best known for his time in Colorado on the receiving end of the miracle at Michigan from Cordell Stewart. That was Michael Westbrook. Michael Westbrook with that amazing play, the Hail Mary from Cordell Stewart to Michael Westbrook to beat Michigan on the last play.
I think if you were playing that game, I would just do Jeopardy rules and just say Westbrook or West. If you don't know, Westbrook. It's got to be Westbrook.
Well, it's a little difficult sometimes when it's like, well, we take last names. West? Damn it, you got it right. Sharkandrick West? Well, we take last names. What are you thinking? West? Got it. Nice job. All right, we'll get out of here. Program's up next. Game 3 of the Stanley Cup tonight at 7 o'clock right here on Sports Radio 810.